Okay, what's up, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Desire of Rap.
You've muted yourself, man.
You muted yourself. We're
yourself.
getting out of this. Welcome to something.
You've muted yourself.
You're
We
muted, bro.
cannot hear you.
You're
Can't hear you.
You're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Can
we
you
can.
hear me?
Welcome to what?
Can you hear me now? Okay. Okay,
What?
I think I unplugged myself. I think I unplugged myself accidentally. This is going on great, just like the first pay-per-view of ECW Barely Legal, where everything is just going to shit. But whatever, we got a great panel. This is awesome. We're about to debate wrestling, and let's go around the table. Of course, I'm your host, the Variety Vendor, and we got first off Jay. Come on, introduce yourself.
What's up? JH Best, otherwise known as Kaiba. First time doing this and just looking to see what it is about.
Debates. That's what it's all
Right,
about.
right.
Debates. Jordan, introduce yourself.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? This is JPO, Jordan Pierce Owens, and I'm here to debate some pro wrestling.
Nice. And next we got the villain, Haven. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Yeah, what's up, everyone? Of course, I'm the villain, the chairman, the CEO, CFO of Jack of All Trivia, here to debate some wrestling with my boys.
Well, now you're the jack of all debates. We'll go on to the next corner, and we got Rich. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Richie. I'm looking forward to this. It's my first sort of proper debate. I've always been like a huge fan of like movie fights and stuff like that. But like it's pretty cool that I have wrestling to debate on because it's more my wheelhouse. So I always thought like wrestling would work in this sort of format. So let's see how this goes.
The whole effing show, RNG, right there. Okay, now we get to the first question. We start off hot. With this question, and that is, what is the best Sting moment? We'll start off with Jay. Go ahead.
Sting when he joined Kurt Angle. I mean, how long do I got to go on with this? Just nice.
Just your opening right now, and then we'll do the rebuttal.
All right. So when he joined the Main Event Mafia with Kurt Angle, in TNA, and they had that badass stable of them, Kevin Nash, I want to say Joe, and Booker T. Am I wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm right. They ran the show for a year or two doing that shit, and then the whole fight between Kurt Angle and Sting for the leadership of the Main Event Mafia and all the storyline headed into it. That was, in my opinion, my best moment watching Sting. My favorite.
All right. What about you, Jordan?
All right, for Sting's best moment, I think we got to go back to Starrcade 1997 here. Main event for the world title, him versus Hollywood Hogan. Good versus evil, and it's Sting Crow. It's Crow Sting. It's this culmination of, maybe I'll talk about this later on during Fall Brawl of Sting leaving and coming back and all those moments of him just trying to get back at the NWO. And then, of course, it ends with the right way. Sting holding that title in the air, people lifting him up, champagne, tears dropping down your face. It is exactly how you want to end the year. That's why I love that Starrcade was in December, and it's such a feel-good moment here. The right culmination, Sting winning that world title from that bad man Hollywood Hogan.
Nice. What about you, Have?
All right. My favorite Sting moment is August 97 Clash of the Champions. I'm not going to say nothing more than that. I guess I should. All right. That's the pay-per-view. This is before that shitty-ass match he had against Hulk Hogan. That had the shitty-ass finish, and then they had to restart the match. So, you know what? That match was trash. this was the greatest Sting moment because this was NWO in the ring, Eric Bischoff talking shit. And then the lights start dimming out and they go up to the rafters and Sting is there with a vulture on his arm. And then you hear the most infamous promo of Sting's career. It wasn't even by Sting. It was when the Child started talking. And that Child was breaking it down, talking about evil and darkness. And when the lights turned off, it came back on. And the vulture was on the rope. And the NWO looked as shit, shook as hell. And the crowd was going crazy. That is the most iconic moment in Sting's career for the icon, for the legend.
Nice. Okay, what about you, Rich? Got three big moments.
My favorite Sting moment is building up to that Starcade match. I think it was more to do with it. Was in October, I believe. It was like NWO were laying waste to all these fake Stings in the ring, and then Buff Bagwell, and then every time the NWO member hits a Sting member, they all fall down, and then one time Buff Bagwell hits a Sting member, hits a supposed Sting member, he doesn't fall down. Surprise, surprise, it's Sting, and then the crowd goes nuts. That moment is just amazing because it also it plays on the fact that before that you didn't even when Sting had come down, you don't know if it was a fake Sting, you don't know if at the time Jeff Farm was playing the Sting, they'll sort of NWO was taking the piss and you didn't know how if the real Sting was coming down or if it was going to be a fake Sting, so that moment was really that really sort of stuck with me as one of the best Sting moments.
Awesome, great moment, and he wasn't talking about jumping Jeff Farmer. Yep. Now, Jay, why is your pick better than everyone else's?
Because it's TNA Impact and it's not WCW.
Okay. Is that it?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
All right. All right, Jordan, why is your pick better than everyone else's?
All right, let me shut down these arguments right now. First of all, the complete opposite is what Jay just said. It's TNA and WCW. That's the whole point what his argument is out because it's TNA, guys. Now, I'm a big TNA fan. I loved it growing I don't know, growing up, I was already 12. Well, I guess it's growing up, but it started to fall off. And even this is a prime example, just like Aces and Eights. It started off kind of cool, and then it just got kind of bloated and fell off. And can anyone remember how it ended? No, because it just trailed off in the end here. And it's not an iconic moment. You ask, I think, 100 Sting fans, no one's going to bring this up as their first. I mean, also, Villain and Richie, you guys basically helped me, I feel, in a way, because you guys were talking about moments that led to my greater, bigger moment here. They were little parts of what made my moment great because mine was the culmination. Mine was all that buildup of the fake Stings, of Clash of the Champions, August 97, which when you first said that, I didn't even remember what you were even talking about because there are so many great moments. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. You mentioned the Child. Yeah, the Child delivered the promo, not Sting. Sting was always better as a silent character here. And all of this just led to my moment. That's what made my moment great is, yeah, it's some screwy stuff. It's WCW, it's Hogan, it's 97. But still, as far as we knew, that night ended with us feeling happy because he held that title. And your moments just lead to why my moment was so great because you guys were my build-up.
Prize fighter, just going for the prize with Jordan Owens. All right. What about you, Haven?
Yeah, like I said, man, that's just, dude, everybody remembers that promo. That was the first time we heard anything like that in wrestling. Like that shit was just so cool. And the visual of him holding the vulture on his arm, the whole NWO in the ring, they were celebrating Hogan's birthday, and then they look up and the lights turn off, and then, they just hearing that promo is still chilling to this day with Sting just looking down at the NWO, and you just hear that amazing promo. It feels like something that would have came out of a movie, and it's just, I'm trying to look it up now, and I can't find it on my damn laptop because I was gonna play the damn promo because I doubt we're gonna have like so many views that WWE is gonna flag us. But man, that shit just sends chills down your spine. Like if you're a Sting fan, yeah, there's a handful of matches you could talk about, but man, everybody remembers that time they heard that promo with the kid talking, and that shit right there was just showing you that Sting was the man.
All right. What about you, Rich? Why is your
Okay.
pick better than everyone else's?
All right, I'm just gonna rattle off. But with Jay, I think just to kind of to go off Jordan's here. I think like TNA at that point sort of was rehashing a lot of problems WCW had. It was sort of like WCW light in regards to the main event mafia was kind of cool at the start, but it was also putting the older guys in the forefront, and the younger guys were sort of behind. Right? It's like every time you'd watch TNA, it was like, oh yeah, it would start off with a half an hour main event mafia promos, and they would always be on top. And so I try to forget those kind of moments, and they tried to make Sting a heel. It didn't really work. With you, like with Jordan, I mean, like these cool moments leading up to it, because I'd rather think about the cool moments leading up to Starrcade as opposed to the payoff of Starrcade, which was shit. Because the payoff of Starrcade, which was Hulk Hogan, and you mentioned it in your argument, that where like Hulk Hogan, being Hulk Hogan, kind of being having his ego all over the booking, where it could have been a lot better. When it's sort of I don't the payoff wasn't the payoff, it deserved a better payoff than what it got. So I that's the reason why the build up is better than the actual Starrcade. And with Haven, I don't really have a lot, but anything like I watched that moment recently. And it's a cool moment, but like I also remember like it had like the was it the condor or whatever the bird was on the ropes, and it did kind of look a bit hokey at the time, and so it did. Like, even though that was cool with the kid and the Sting in the rafters, the bird on the rope kind of looked a bit lame.
All right. Okay. That's actually you brought up some very interesting points. So now for the final statements. Okay. Jay, you got a better final statement than what you started off with?
Well, see, I would have really just said Sting showing up to AEW because that was a pretty big moment in my opinion as well. But I know everybody else was going WCW. I don't know shit on WCW, so all these matches and great moments that you guys are talking about is stuff I have no clue on. But I definitely am interested in like Haven's part. I've seen that. I've seen it in like where there's the little clips and shit about which I don't know. I guess I'm going on his side. I don't know this, but yeah. So I just went with TNA because I figured it was a little bit older. It was a good, I guess, moment of his time in TNA. I mean, I know he held titles. He's a Hall of Famer, and I think TNA and WWE. I don't know. I'm not even a big TNA fan, but back in that time, that was, in my opinion, some pretty good TNA moments. So I guess that's where I end.
All right. Jordan, go ahead.
At the end of the day, for the most part, we remember moments, not matches here. So even though the match was just fine, it's the moment. It's that culmination. I could see picture of Sting being on everyone's shoulders, and the culmination of full brawl all the way to Starrcade, a year and a half of just storylines building and building, and not even him wrestling. That was so cool about it. These little moments that they mentioned leading to the ultimate great moment here. This thing in TNA, it fell off. He didn't work as a heel. Richie's not even sure when his moment was. So I don't know. That really shows you how memorable it is. Havens is cool. But again, I got to say, like, it's when half of what's memorable is something that Sting didn't do. It's like saying Brock Lesnar is a great promo. No, Paul Heyman is. Sting's not even the most memorable part of that moment. So I got to go with Starrcade, the good guy, finally getting the title.
Hey, sombrero Brock Lesnar, it was awesome. Go ahead, Haven. Final statement.
The final statement is this. He keeps saying, oh, the Sting match. The match wasn't even that good. So yeah, it was building, but Lex Luger beat Hulk Hogan before Sting did for that title. When he was already in the NWO and he was already Hollywood. So it wasn't like Sting was the first guy to beat Hogan for that title, So, and then, the main event Mafia shit was really cool, but, unless Jay had like the promo written down or the moment, the day, and then Richie's argument about, when multiple Stings came, that shit happened on and off, we could always you always remember people, Sting just being the shit out of fake Stings or fake Stings coming to the ring, but my thing is this shit right here, and this right here. And this is all I got to say to this. All right.
We got footage on this show. That's why it's the greatest debate of all time. Anyways. Yeah.
You're watching the whole fucking clip.
All right, that's enough of that. But man, that shit right there is the greatest thing moment. You look at him, you look at the black and white, you just look at everything. You see that ill-ass vulture. You hear the fucking greatest fucking promo. Even he might have wrote it, but you know what? That right there to me is the greatest thing moment of all time. And I'll end it at that.
All right, Rich, final statement.
Okay. Jay, I think the main event Mafia was cool, but it's not really, you couldn't really pinpoint a moment really. So yeah, Jordan, like I said, yeah, I think Haven put it too. Is like a cool Sting won the title, but it's like, and also he didn't really hold it for like very long. It's like because it's all at the end of the day, it's Hulk Hogan show, and also. Lex Luger won it, so it didn't feel as impactful. Even though, I know it was built up, like the whole Sting return was built up for a year and everything. But it just, I don't know. The pay, like I said, the payoff just wasn't worth it for me. And again, I don't know. Yeah, with Haven, I feel like, if you're using a visual representation, I feel like maybe you've lost your argument.
Okay, now.
Where's check all this?
Okay, so we started off. Jay, you knocked yourself out, so I can't. You're not in the running when it comes to this. I really had a tough time, when it comes to Jordan, Haven, and Rich's arguments to pick out which one was the best one. Jordan, you started off strong. Facts after facts after facts. I really, I really was with you the entire way up until the final statement point where Haven and Rich kind of went up. They double teamed you. They double teamed you with that, and I cannot disagree with them when they were talking about the culmination, like the match itself. Left a sour taste in everybody's mouth. And Haven pretty much talking about that Lex Luger won the title. Before that, I was waiting for him to actually say that. So it really comes down to Rich and Haven because, like I said, starting off with this show is that it's not about statistics. It's not about what everybody regards as, being great. It's mostly about passion and creativity. And I felt it. I felt it with Haven. I felt like the passion, with the moment that he picked, like how it affected him and everything. But I got to go with Rich. I got to go with Rich with this one because if the only thing that would have tipped it closer to Haven is if he actually recited a part of that promo. If he actually just gave me a line and was like, that's what he was talking about and everything. But I got to give the first point to Rich. And congrats, 1-0. Man, Jay, you gotta bring it, man. You gotta bring it, Jay. Don't be doing a Sid botch. Don't be doing a Sid botch.
I'll have the next one.
All right, that's the confidence that I want to hear. Okay, so second question: best AEW pay-per-view. We're not letting up. We're going full speed ahead. Let's start off with Jordan. Go ahead.
All right, guys. It's not just by happenstance that I'm going with the last one we saw, talking Full Gear 2020. You look at this thing. I'm a big fan of everything's got to deliver here. I think they did that on this night here. So first of all, you start off. I'm a firm believer in starting off hot. Omega Page did that. Another long build here of these two being tag team partners, putting together tremendous tag team matches. Them falling apart in the end, the tournament leading up to this, and this was one hell of an opener. This reestablished why Page got that first title shot. This reestablished any kind of doubt you had in Omega because he's kind of fallen off to being a tag team guy. This reminded you of the best bout machine. This was definitely the way to start off a pay-per-view. Then you follow that up with two comedy guys, but that deliver. Orange Cassidy, John Silver. I've been a big John Silver fan, and in fact, I heard that story recently about how Tony Khan was like, why are you so funny on Dark and you're not delivering on Dynamite? Because he was afraid of letting himself out, and as soon as he did, look at him. He went from Dark guy that lost every time he was out there to now he's on a pay-per-view. Cassidy's been delivering all year long as well. They did good. Then finally, AEW established a great breakout star that WWE never had, that no one else ever had, in Darby Allin winning that TNT title in a great match with Cody. Those two always deliver. Bucks versus FTR. That literally has been a dream match for years. The tweet going back to years ago with those two. And again, hype out the wazoo that delivered. And then main event here, man. If you had told me a year ago Eddie Kingston would be the main event of a top tier pay-per-view, I wouldn't have doubted it based on skill. I would have just doubted based on like, oh no one's ever going to give him a chance. It probably would have happened by now. But talk about promos delivering, and then these two, even though we just saw the match on Dynamite, they delivered again in a great intense match that had you to the very end. And again, just like a lot of these matches here, you could go for either guy, really. And then there's even 3 more matches I could talk about that also delivered here. Those two all hit it out of the park, reassuring anyone, because not to jump ahead, but Richie's going to go with Revolution. A couple of those pay-per-view, I think, made people guess. This reassured anyone that AEW has the roster to put out an A-plus pay-per-view.
All right. Shout out to John Silver. Anna, whoa. Haven, next.
All right. Mine is All Out 2019. We had a women's battle royal that Nyla Rose won, for number 1 contenders match. We had Riho win her match against, I think it was Cheetah. She won her match so she could fight Nyla at the next Dynamite to be the first ever women's champion in AEW. We had a great tag team ladder match for the Mexican AAA trios, not trios, the titles, the Mexican ones. I forget how they say it in Spanish. I don't want to fuck the name up. So we had the Lucha Bros versus the Young Bucks in one of the greatest matches, tag team matches that we've seen in a long freaking time. That shit was just bananas. And then, of course, we ended the night with the first ever crowning of the AEW champion, and that was our boy. We had our boy Chris Jericho beating Hangman Page in a stellar ass match with Hangman's parents and his sister out there. And plus we also had Pac beat Kenny Omega on that pay-per-view. So yeah, that shit really showed how the future was gonna build to get to the matches and the pay-per-views that everybody else is talking about.
Nice.
Come on,
All right,
come on now.
Rich.
I'm going Revolution because you know as as well as being MJF having his combination of his awesome feud with Cody, finally becoming the hugely great heel we always know he could be. You had Orange Cassidy being the shifting up a level and versing Puck in a really great match that I don't think anyone was expecting to be as good as it was. You had one of the best tag matches I've ever seen in my life, which it was Kenny Omega, Adam Page versus the Young Bucks. That match was amazing, and you finally had in the main event you had John Moxley sticking it to WWE and finally beating Chris Jericho for the AEW title in a great match. This was a great pay-per-view. Yes, and yeah, and I'll elaborate on my points soon.
All right. And before we go on to Jay, Haven, it was Riho that won the inaugural women's title.
Yeah,
So
she won it on Dynamite the next night or the next week because her and Nyla faced off.
yeah. Okay. Jay, go ahead. What's your
All right, best AEW pay-per-view goes for Double or Nothing, the very first one. I don't know the year right off my head, but the very first one in Vegas. I mean, everybody was watching it. Fans were watching it. WWE was watching that shit. I mean, Double or Nothing. It had first pay-per-view for them. Not technically their first if you're going to say All In, but that's not AEW. So first pay-per-view was Double or Nothing. Tons of eyes. Main event, Jericho versus Omega, number 2. I mean, first one being in Japan. And none of us go to Japan to watch it. So I would say, that was a killer match. And then you also had the original Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers, which I knew a little bit about the Lucha Brothers, but I was following the Young Bucks into AEW, into Double or Nothing, into everything. And I'm a big Young Bucks fan, best in the world. Okay. But they put on a killer match there. I mean, I didn't even know, like I said, know the Lucha Brothers, but I dug them at the end of it. And then the same thing, I knew who the best friends were. I've seen them here and there. I didn't really, I didn't know who they were, but that first match, it grew on me. Damn, that was a damn good match. And then you had them with TH versus TH2. And at the end of that match, the Dark Order, who the fuck's the Dark Order? And the Dark Order just shows up. I mean, that one just kind of, I didn't know who the hell they were. Everybody else in the crowd didn't seem to know who the hell they were. We were all kind of dumbfounded on that one, but it was good because it was questionable of what the hell happened. Then you get to the Cody Rhodes versus hold on, give it to me. Cody Rhodes and Dustin Rhodes versus or Cody versus Dustin. Yeah, okay, yeah. I had to picture this in my head. But that was a killer match. I mean, that one, everybody was waiting for that build-up. It was a way better match than we got in WWE. I mean, they beat the shit out of each other in that match. The amount of blood from both of them. I mean, the love of the match. I mean, the love between them, the love between the fans to the wrestlers and the wrestlers to the fans. I mean, they wanted to put on a show, and they put on a fucking show in just that match, in my opinion. And then you had the Casino Battle Royale, which unfortunately, yes, right now, there were so many people in that first one that I don't remember it right offhand. But I also know we had SCU versus OWE. Yeah, OWE. And I didn't know who the hell they were either. They were badass. I mean, I knew SCU. Yes, I did. Did not know OWE, and I think, I don't know. There's some definitely wrestling gurus out there that know their shit, so I'm assuming some people did, but it seemed like half the crowd didn't know who they were. And then to get long story short, we get to the main event, Jericho versus Omega, and I mean, I watched that first match on YouTube in New Japan. I mean, that was I don't really watch much Japan wrestling, but I watched that match. That was a damn good match. And so I was looking forward to number 2. And it's Jericho. So, I mean, again, you go back to WWE's watching that shit, and they're like, oh, this ain't going to be blah, blah, blah. They ain't going to do shit. Man, they put on a hell of a match. That was a killer match. And then the match ends. And then Jon Moxley comes. And, I mean, that fucking place blows up. And when that place blew up, I mean, I was happier than hell. Moxley comes down there, gets into it. Fucking him and Omega start going off to the back. Fucking hits him, which I found funny with an AA. I didn't really understand that one at first, but, you know, hey, I mean, that's a good fucking middle finger to WWE. You know, hit you with a fucking attitude adjustment out of nowhere. But that was a damn good pay-per-view in my mind. And I enjoyed it. And I think tons of other people enjoyed it. And like I said, everybody was watching that. I don't care if you weren't a wrestling fan or you were a wrestling fan, somebody told you about it. You were watching Double or Nothing. You paid for it. You watched it for free. You found it some way, but people watched that shit, and that was good shit. End story.
Nice. All right, Jordan, rebuttal time. Why is your pick better than everyone else's?
All right, man. You know, I think I said, man, I think I pulled out a good argument as to why mine was top to bottom, just something to behold and be watched and rewatched. Well, I think everyone here mentioned shows that kind of had some filler, to be honest with you. I mean, you mentioned All Out 2019. You didn't remember who Rio fought. Can't be that memorable if you don't remember who she even faced. Ladder match being one of the greatest that we've seen recently. I gotta fight that, man. Maybe it's a little old school in me, but it was a spot fest, and I think it was kind of forgettable as far as remembering it later on. I think the 2 best tag matches here were from Revolution and then my show, Full Gear. The ladder match was it was just spotty and fun because of that. And the main event, Jericho and Paige, it underdelivered here. It made a lot of people kind of wonder why maybe Paige had the spot and not Omega or someone else that was slightly bigger at the time here. So I was fine with who won, but the match is not that memorable. Revolution, MJF versus Cody, the buildup is better than the match here. The match didn't deliver, and I think even Pac and Cassidy was fine, but I don't know if Pac was the right opponent for Cassidy, the first show on a pay-per-view, because you very much just wonder why Pac didn't just murder him and said, well, Cassidy does his shtick. I feel like this was very much a one-match show. You mentioned the tag match, which was good, but everything else is just fine here for me, including even that main event. Kind of a feel-good moment, but I wouldn't say it stuck at the WWE. Moxley was already WWE World Champion. Like, again, I didn't really feel like we were getting that first big homecoming guy like we finally got with Omega a couple of weeks ago. We got Moxley. All right, cool. But again, another WWE guy just getting the title here. And I don't know, just overall, like Revolution was one that didn't even come to my mind as far as top 3 is maybe my number 6 even. Double or Nothing. Of course, a lot of people are watching. It's the first one. It's got that unfair advantage of just people wondering what has it got. Jericho Omega, we'd seen it on pay-per-view before, so that match wasn't anything new, and I don't think they delivered anything new. It was a match that we got, good match, but it's a match we had seen. Young Bucks versus Lucha, saw it better on PWG. I think Lucha Brothers, for some reason, have not really stepped up their game here. I think it's why they've fallen kind of to the wayside these last few months, is because there's just something about them that's not clicking with a lot of their opponents here. And this is just the lead to the bigger, spottier match. Jay, you said it best yourself. Dark Order, everyone went, huh? You turn off the lights, you put them back on, you expect something big. You expect something like Sting. And unfortunately for Dark Order, who, if you're a big indie fan, maybe you were kind of like, oh, cool, them. But everyone else was just like, huh? Like, sorry, guys, it's your biggest show ever because it's your first show, and you're teasing us like it's going to be somebody that we all know, and 80% of the audience didn't know what the heck it was. Same thing with OWE, who, again, we haven't seen very much. Even before the pandemic, we haven't seen much of OWE guys who they hyped at the rally and then never saw again. So I just kind of got to argue mine just from top to bottom. Everything delivered and killed it.
Cool. And Haven, why is your pick better than everyone else?
All right. Okay, here's why. Like I said, my matches top to bottom were better than Full Gear that he's talking about. He's loving Full Gear, right? MJF had a match against Chris Jericho, which was whatever, wasn't that great. Jon Moxley beat Eddie Kingston, a guy who shouldn't be in the main event, and he only got there because he could talk and everybody else was gone, and the match was trash. The match wasn't that good. All right, Young Bucks versus FTR. He says, oh, we've been waiting years for it. Yes, we have, but once they made that stupid-ass stipulation that, if they don't win the belts, they're never going to fight for it, we already knew they were going to win that match. And yeah, it got 5 stars. So did my match. So did my tag team match against the Lucha Brothers. Got 5 stars from Dave Meltzer, and that match had more shit going on in there than this match did. Ladder spots, table spots, Phoenix doing the off the wall crazy shit. The match just flowed. Great near falls, great suspense. The crowd was going bananas for that match. Yeah, the women's battle royal was cool. Never seen that before in AEW. So we had Nyla Rose, kind of showing up, being a monster. That was really cool. Yeah, Riho won a qualifier match, and she fought another Japanese wrestler. She fought the lady that prances around like she's from Queen, like she's fucking I can't even think of the dude, Freddie, Freddie Mercury from Queen, So that match was weird, but it was all right because I don't mind the Japanese stuff. But we had a killer match with Pac versus Kenny Omega. And when I check out the other people talking about, oh, well, this, but yeah, that was a great ass match. And the only reason we haven't seen Pac is because of goddamn pandemic, or he probably would have been in the title contention like he should have been. And then we had Chris Jericho having a good match with Hangman. And yeah, Hangman maybe, some people say, oh, yeah, he kind of fell off a little bit, before that match started. But yo, he was a young guy, a new guy that never proved himself. Only single title we ever had was the ROH Television Championship. So for them to put that much faith in him, stuff changes in wrestling. But, to be the first title match, the first crowning of the champion, that's always going to go down as people are going to remember that. And people bought that pay-per-view to watch all these championship matches. And, even though we didn't have a tag team, we didn't have an AEW championship tag team match yet. They didn't have those belts yet made. But, we did have, the heavyweight championship. So that shit was just off the chain. So we crowned the heavyweight. Young Bucks lost their match against the Lucha Brothers, and the Lucha Brothers has been champion all over the world. And so has Pentagon. He's a champion in 3 different companies. He's been an Impact champion. You should definitely go back and check some of that shit out if you don't know who he is. But yeah, man, the card was just better stacked to me than the one at Full Gear this time around. The one at Full Gear, like we knew Kenny was gonna win. It was like, all right, whatever, he fucking won, But yeah, a lot of these matches were kind of filler, like, oh, okay, Orange Cassidy, John Silver, whatever, Yeah, there was a bunch of the other people had some okay pay-per-views, but I think mine top to bottom was just an overall better note, in the history books.
All right. Rich, why is your pick better than everyone else's? That's Revolution.
So
Right?
I would just go to Jay first. You mentioned, like you mentioned, like, oh, you get the Dark Order and OVE. The thing is, like, Dark Order for months was shit. It wasn't until like it took ages for it to I think it wasn't until like Brody Lee came in and to build it back up because like Jordan said, it just for a while there it just sort of relied on the sort of smart marks to know who these people are as opposed to just introducing them to people who have no idea who they are. So it's like, okay, cool. It's the same reason why the Butcher and the Blade didn't really work, for a while ago. It's like, oh, Butcher, the Blade, cool, who are they? And with Jordan, you say, oh, there's no filler. I would give to you that Hikaru Shida versus Nyla just because Nyla's in that position because they didn't really build anyone else up in that position because they're one of the kind of criticisms that AEW gets leveled at all the time is that they don't really focus on their women's division, and this was sort of this was an example of that. It just felt like if you remember the build-up, that match was made last second, and that did feel like last minute. And also, you had a NWA women's title match, which should be given a lot of hype around it. It's an NWA women's title match. It's on the fucking pre-show. And then you got John Silver and Orange Cassidy, which should be get given a lot of time. Orange Cassidy just came off beating Chris Jericho, and then he almost, and then now he's just in a random match with John Silver, which was going to be in the pre-show, and then it got elevated. So yeah, and then you say like, we finally had Young Bucks and FTR. Yes, we did, but like as Haven said, like they telegraphed the winner of that when they made that stipulation where it's like, oh, if we don't win, you know, if we don't win, we're not going to challenge the titles again. So I was like, oh, they're going to win now. And also, the end was just very sort of anticlimactic, it was just sort of super kick. And I don't sort of like to sort of bring up this point, but it would have. I feel like that match was hurt by the fact that there wasn't as much of a crowd. Like I think the crowds make matches. All right, but Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Page, that had the emotion going into it because of the crowd, and you go, whoa, is Hangman Page and Kenny Omega going to break up, and it's like the excitement of it, and I felt like that was that the full gear match was sort of lacking with that, and it was a great match, but they're sort of building up like it was one of the greatest tag matches in history. And I'm like, I really, I mean, I've seen better, to be honest. And in regards to Havens, I don't know, I've seen with especially with the main event, Jericho and Hangman, it was cool, Jericho, cool moment, Jericho winning the AEW title, but yeah, it's just a very sort of lackluster match, and you had all these cool things, but they were really sort of they're really sort of spot festy sort of matches. It wasn't there was nothing too memorable really. You couldn't even remember the women's champions. But yeah, anyway, that's my kind of spiel.
Gotcha. All right, Jay, why is your pick better than everyone else's?
All right, right off the bat. So I can't talk shit about any AEW pay-per-view, but I'm going to. But AEW is on top of the fucking world no matter what anybody says. But I'm going to have to jump on Jordan real quick because your pay-per-view, it was a good pay-per-view, but the reason it sucked is it, like Richie said, it did not have a fucking crowd. You cannot have a wrestling show. I mean, don't get me wrong. I watch it. I love it. I still support it. But you cannot have a wrestling show, a badass wrestling show, without a crowd. That fucking crowd in Double or Nothing was ecstatic. I mean, that thing was fucking, I was a WWE fan. I watched a little bit of Ring of Honor, but I didn't really have the channel, but I caught it. I knew what, I knew the Elite. I knew the Young Bucks. I knew what they did in New Japan. I don't watch Japan. And I'm not the only one. See, here's my other problem is you kept saying you know. I don't give a fuck what you know. There's tons of other people out there that are the same way. That were WWE fans, Jericho fans. They didn't watch indie shit. They don't know what the fuck PWG is. They don't know what fucking, fuck that. Who knows if they know what Ring of Honor New Japan is? They could be diehard WWE fans, gave up on it when it started going, PG, whatever you want to say. So you had your, fans that came back just to watch AEW because Jericho's headlining the fucking show. I wasn't much of a Jericho fan. Not to begin with. I mean, he was always going against John Cena, my fucking favorite. But with that being said, I mean, I was like, damn, Jericho's going to be headlining this AEW show. I definitely got to be there. I mean, the fucking crowd in this place, ecstatic. I mean, they were just going back to the Dark Order. Yeah, like I said, nobody knew who the fuck the Dark Order was, but guess what? Made you wonder who the fuck they were. When you finally got around to the Dark Order, I mean, sure, like Richie said in the beginning, they were shit. I mean, Dark Order wasn't doing shit. WWE does that with half their fucking talent. So, I mean, it was no different. I'm like, all right, but hopefully one day they'll get bigger. Oh, so yeah, Brody Lee shows up. Fuck yeah. I mean, that was badass. Where the fuck's Brody Lee at right now? Nobody has a clue. But
injured.
The Dark Order, they're still running. I mean, they're, best thing on BTE. A lot of people love their shit. They're still doing. You're talking about this fucking Orange Cassidy and Johnny Hungy. I mean, I like the guy. He's fucking great. But I mean, again, you wouldn't have got that motherfucker in that match without the Dark Order debuting at Double or Nothing. Yeah, they could have debuted a little bit later. You could argue with that, but they debuted at Double or Nothing. The other thing, so going to the villain, going to Havens. All Out again. I'm not gonna, it was a fucking great pay-per-view, but you you had your first match or getting the world title. That's a fucking great match, but we seen the world title first at Double or Nothing when Bret the Hitman Hart brought that shit out. And again, WWE sitting over there like, damn, they got fucking Bret Hart too. Next thing you know, Bret Hart's back with WWE. But, you know, I mean, we got to see that title first. I mean, and the fucking place went Boku fucking crazy when you got to see the title. I mean, the whole crowd from beginning to end, that crowd never shut up. I mean, that crowd, and when I say that crowd, I'm that crowd because me and my girl were there. Fucking awesome seats. I love Double or Nothing. I have tickets to the next one if we ever get it again with a crowd, which would be badass. But and again, I mean, you can't, you know, I'm not, you know, Kenny Omega, you say sure that they were on a pay-per-view, him and Jericho and New Japan, but again, I go with the fact of, you know, if people in Know Japan, sure, they watch that match, I'll watch that match. Do I still follow Japan? Nah, not really. But I know shit. But we're going back to Cody Rhodes versus fucking Dustin. I mean, that was the marquee match, in my opinion. I mean, that was the match everybody was fucking divided in. There really was no winner. I mean, there was, you know, but the crowd was, they wouldn't have cared if Dustin won. Hey, that would have been fucking awesome. They gave Dustin, you know, hell of a win. Cody, I mean, big brother. I mean, that's fucking great. And then you turn around, you know, right after that. I mean, I need my brother back, and, you know, you go and get your fucking, you know, have a good time. But, I mean, that was the fucking marquee match. I mean, that was the match. That place fucking blew off, you know. I mean, the whole night, from beginning to end. Like I said, Moxley shows up. Sure, he's former WWE guy, but did you really like him in WWE? I mean, when it was the Shield, I mean, sure, I liked Moxley. Roman Reigns was badass too. Seth Rollins, fuck that guy. He turned on the Shield. But it's Moxley. I mean, Moxley shows up, the fucking place goes erupt. When we left, the first thing I do is I get on fucking Facebook. I get in my wrestling fan group. I get on with my Xbox group. And guess what we're talking about? Fucking John Moxley showing up and just fucking erupting that place. I mean, we talked about that event the whole fucking night. So, yeah, I mean, your guys' pay-per-views were great. They really were. But this was the first fucking one. Again, I know every one of you in here watched that pay-per-view, either being it live or being there. But everybody watched that pay-per-view. Hands down, I would say if you go out and do a survey with fucking 500 wrestling fans, I guarantee you out of all of our picks right here, Double or Nothing's going to be the fucking number one BITW. No doubt. End my story.
All right. Final statements time. Jordan, go ahead.
All right. Well, Jay woke up and came to fight.
What a comeback, huh?
Going on. First of all, Haven, and her name is Emi Sakura, I believe, the lady that you kept forgetting. So obviously proving the point of how forgettable that match was. There's only one title match on the show, and as I said, I feel like
Dude, I had like.
I also don't know why
title matches.
On me. Didn't mention anyone else's shows, so I thought that was a little one-sided of him. You try to knock Sheeta versus Nyla on my show. Richie, I don't remember what your women's match was either. At least mine in the end was a good match. I also talk about my pre-show match. Yeah, my pre-show match was awesome, which I think also proves that how tight my pay-per-view was. Is that they had to figure out what goes on first, what goes on the pre-show, and in a way, you want a really good match on the pre-show because that's the buy-in. That's the whole point. Is that like, hey, in case you're on the fence, here's a bomb-ass match. Now we should have your money if you weren't already giving us your money. So yeah, pre-show was great and should be to a large degree. You mentioned the crowds here, man. I'm sucked in by emotion. I'm sucked in by matches, and that's what I was sucked in with. I was sucked in with FTR versus the Bucks because of the emotion of the match. They didn't need ladders. They fought a really smart match. And the same thing with the main event. How could you knock my main event? Well, first of all, also too talking about before I get to the main event, 'cause that's how I want to end this. Bret Hart. WWE wasn't going shocked because Bret Hart showed up. If you got the money, you can get Bret Hart. I get Bret Hart on my indie show tomorrow if I have the money. So anyone can do it if you have the money. He also forgot to show the title to the hard cam, so everyone at home was going, "Fucking show me the belt, Brad! Stop, turn around."
I can see it.
And of course, everyone watched Double or Nothing. Again, as I said, like even if the show was shit, not saying it is shit by any means, even if it was shit, everyone would have watched it because it was the first pay-per-view out the gate. And then just to end with Kingston and Moxley, guys. I mean, come on, Kingston cutting those promos about like, you know what I mean, man. I have nothing to show my mom. I don't have, you know what I mean, a wife and kids, but I can go home with that world title. I can show her that world title, and I can show her that I did something good here, man. There was emotion in that match here, man. Even and then they killed it, and that's the Moxley's wheelhouse. It's Kingston's wheelhouse, and then they've worked it to a really smart, well done match here. Like I said, man, this thing was just as a roller coaster ride here. You start off hot, you have a little bit of comedy, you have a bomb tag match, you end with a great kind of brawl with some weapons. That's what I want in pro wrestling. A little bit of everything.
All right, Haven. Final statement.
All right. My final statement is this. People keep talking about, the women's match. Yeah, there was 2 women's matches on my card. Riho won her match to qualify to face Nyla Rose that won the Women's Battle Royal the next week on Dynamite. So, yeah, I remember who fought. Yeah, and I can't pronounce the other lady's name, which is whatever, but Riho still put in a great entertainment match. You know, my tag team match, top to bottom, I think, was better than the one the Young Bucks had against FTR at that pay-per-view. The other pay-per-views, I don't even remember what title matches they had or who fought, whatever. But I'm just going to talk about mine because everybody else's, they had some good matches. But Pac versus Kenny Omega was a better match than Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page at the last Full Gear. What match did Kenny Omega have? Oh, yeah, he fought Jericho and lost, and then Moxley came out. Yeah, Moxley was a good surprise. And, that's a nice, memorable moment. But the Dark Order wasn't shit. Nobody cared about that. Like, that shit was a dud. When they came out, that was a big wet fart. When you have, and that's the thing about AEW. I'm not ever going to knock them, but AEW, the fans give them a chance. That's the one thing AEW has over anybody else. They're a brand new company that everybody's given a chance to. Because if it was Impact, people would be like, who the fuck are these bums? That shit sucks. If it was ROH, people were like, probably nobody watch it anyway, so whatever. But AEW, people let it slide. But, sometimes when they bring these people in, it's like, who the fuck are these bums? Like, nobody knew who the Dark Order was. That shit was a wet fart. Same thing when they bring in Butcher and the Blade. It's like, whatever, dude. But, yeah, Bret Hart showed the belt, but that shit wasn't that memorable. Yeah, we've seen the belt, but that shit wasn't like fighting for the belt and somebody actually winning the belt, So, like I said, and my pay-per-view had a 5-star match, tag team match, a new champion crowned. We had the Young Bucks losing on a pay-per-view to the Lucha Brothers, defending the AAA tag team titles, and that shit was a hell of a match. And my card was just tighter than a lot of the other ones. Some of the other ones, yeah, they got their shit together after they finally had their 3 belts. But like I said, I think mine was just top to bottom. And the crowd, man, the crowd was just electric. Go back and watch that Pac match versus Kenny Omega. Go back and watch that Chris Jericho match. Go back and watch that tag team match. The crowd was fucking bananas for those.
All right, Rich, final statement.
All right. First, I'll point out, Jordan, I'll sort of hammering more at you because, pick more holes in your argument. But anyway, but I'll start with Jay first. You say, it's the first one. There's more eyes watching because it's the first one. Yeah, but like there was a lot of eyes watching the first episode of ECW on Sci-Fi. Doesn't really mean anything. It's the first one. So that doesn't really, like Jordan said, it could be a shit show. Didn't really. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was just because it's new. People are going to watch it. I noticed with with Jordan, you didn't really sort of kind of push back at my point that like they telegraphed the match with Young Bucks and Revival, which sort of took me out of the match where they did say like, if we lose this match, we're not going to fight the rest of the tag titles again. So it was like, okay, they're winning. So I knew like as much you could do all the cool moves and have all the cool psychology you want. I'm like, I know they're winning, so it kind of took me out of the match. I mean, and also I know people watch wrestling for the different sort of reasons to get into a match, but like me, like me personally, I just like. I need I need a crowd also to get to sort of also to feel that sort of emotion. yeah, and like, and I don't know, like with Haven, I feel like a lot of you with the Revolution, I think you made. No, did I yeah, with Revolution you made you made bigger stars out of Orange Cassidy, you made bigger stars out of Anna Page, and like Haven, I just feel like Lucha Brothers and Young Bucks was a good match, but it's like I and it was 5 stars and everything, but again, it was really sort of just who could outdo the other. But it was in regards to spot fest. So there was no real sort of psychology there, which I feel like a lot of the other matches have in spades. We lost Eddie.
Well, I'm the new host, so 12 points to me. You guys did pretty good, though. Oh, no. Eddie, you here?
He's like,
Well, this is odd.
Yeah, no host now. That's crazy.
Is he in the chat? Something came out. I don't know, dude. No, I don't know.
Which is crazy. We only did one question so far.
All
This
right.
is our second question, right? Holy shit, an hour in and we're only on the second question. Damn.
And there's 5.
Yeah, right. Well, I guess if somebody wins 2 or 3, then that's probably a wrap.
Fucking Johnny Hungry over here.
Hopefully he shows back up soon.
I don't even know if
Okay.
forgot to plug in his laptop.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just making that up. I have no idea.
oh, he's
okay.
writing. He's writing now. Trying to get back in.
I don't think we can find him. Wasn't it his room? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't even, for some reason, I couldn't even get in here on my laptop. But on my phone, it's fine. But my phone is damn near, my phone's been on 14% for the last half an hour. I keep plugging it in and this shit just don't go up.
Bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, StreamYard be really draining the phone.
Yeah, mine's going a little on the dead side too. I have to plug it in a moment. My girl bought herself this little stand to hold your phone on. And so I'm using it,
nice.
and it's like the shape of a fucking unicorn. And man, it's fallen over like 3 or 4 times. I keep trying to get it to stay. Then I've been holding it. I don't understand this little device.
Yeah, I'm so surprised Richie won the first round when he didn't even know what week or what month or what show that shit was on.
My favorite moments from that one show and that one thing.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I don't know dates. I just know events.
That's what happened.
Oh, you remember it was Buff Bagwell's in the ring? They're like,
Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Man, this is like just like I said, like ECW.
Lights literally went out over your house.
What part of my rant did you hear? Do you want me to go?
Go ahead one more time.
All right, I'll have to remember. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay. I'll just stop and say. Okay. Like Jay, you say that like a lot of eyes are watching us, so probably the better one. But it's like, yeah, that's iconic first one, but like there's a lot of eyes on ECW and Sci-Fi, so that doesn't really hold much weight. Like Jordan, you say like you still didn't come back at my point where like that especially with the Young Bucks and the FTR match that they totally telegraphed the finish, whereas Young Bucks had made that stipulation where if they won, if they didn't win, they wouldn't challenge the tag titles again. So I was like, oh, okay, they're winning now. So it kind of took me out of the match. It took me out of the match already. So I'm like, it's cool. They can do all the cool high spots they want. They can do, but they can tell a story. But I'm like, I'm not really invested in the match because I'm like, I kind of know Young Bucks going to win. It's like, okay, if they didn't do that thing with Cody, then you know, I'd be like, okay, maybe there's a chance they won't win, but they're not going to do it with Cody and the Young Bucks. So, and then yeah, like I mean, how you need like your show did have a lot of like cool matches and stuff like that. Like I mean, like with you know Young Bucks and Witch Brothers, but I don't know. I just feel like overall, like my show had more like variety, and and it made more people as bigger stars. Like you get like with your Orange Cassidy and Anna Page, and and all in all, I think it just felt like and I don't like to bring this point because it's just under these circumstances are it's hard under these circumstances, but it having a crowd definitely did help the quality of the show.
Jay, final statement.
All right, final statement. I'm gonna kind of try to leave it short and sweet. And again, I can't talk shit on any of these AEW pay-per-views, so instead I'm gonna talk good about them. So, Villains pay-per-view, again, the title, getting planned up for the title match is fucking awesome. Then you actually had the world title match and get your crown La Champion, AEW World Champion, badass. I mean, that was ideal, a great pay-per-view. I loved it. Not gonna talk shit on it. We're going to Richie's next, and that's Revolution, I heard, Revolution 2020. So that's when Jon Moxley beat Le Champion for that title. Hey, there was good build up to it. I loved it. It was a fucking great match. Honestly, right offhand, I know that was in February. I was more pumped up of Jericho Cruise, and then I don't know. I don't really, like I said, I'm stoned. I don't really remember all of it. So it was a good pay-per-view. I can't talk shit on it. Then we go to Full Gear. Full Gear is a damn good match. I mean, good pay-per-view altogether too. I mean, I enjoyed Eddie Kingston. Again, another one of those going back to my names. I didn't know who he was, but man, the promos he delivers, the way he comes, I'm a fan of Eddie Kingston. I think he's, one of my favorites in AEW. Did I know he was going to beat Jon Moxley? Hell no. I mean, Jon Moxley, that was predictable, but I loved it. Then Hangman versus Omega. Again, the build up towards it, great. That was awesome. I loved it, but predictable. But again, I loved it. Again, I can't talk shit. It was an awesome show. It was a beautiful, all three of them shows. But we go back to mine, and this was where I leave it short and sweet. Crazy crowd from beginning to end. Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes. Like I said, marquee match. That was it. That was the, it wasn't main event, but that was the headliner of that show. That was awesome. The whole build up to it. Jericho Omega. Again, that was, I got to watch it on TV, but for the people that watched their crowd in live and, watched it, actually got to watch it, whatever, fucking beautiful show. Everybody loved that match. It was good. Moxley showing up at the end. Again, when I say, I don't care. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall with WWE. They had to be shitting. I really do. Sure, they have the better shit according to Vince McMahon, but everybody that watched that show enjoyed it. Like I said, you had people that didn't know it. You had people that did know it. Diehard fans like you guys. But guess what? That show brought so many viewers. If it wasn't for that show, sure, they would probably still succeeded, but I think they did really great with that show, which then brought your guys' shows. So, in reality and truthfulness, Double or Nothing, the first one, best AEW pay-per-view, hands down. Check it off on a list with 500 people. I guarantee you it's number one.
All right.
In my discussion.
Well, very, very strong argument from all sides. And I got to take myself out of this because I do have a favorite. So I'm going to approach this in a different manner. Let's say, for example, I'm going to the mall, okay, and my son is a wrestling fan, okay? Y'all are working in the mall, and you're going to sell me on a DVD. Just give me one line, all right? Just give me one takeaway. Tell me, try to sell me on this DVD of your AEW pick, okay, pay-per-view pick. Start off with Jordan. I'm coming in and I'm like, all right, my son, he's 15 years old. He's a huge wrestling fan, and he wants a wrestling pay-per-view to watch. Go ahead, Jordan.
Top to bottom, this not only shows you some of the best in all areas, from hardcore to tag team, everything delivers here. Also, sir, I'll give you my employee discount. You can save 20%. So
Good. All right, Haven.
If you want to see the best tag team match in AEW's history, that's going to be on my pay-per-view and the first crowning of an AEW champion. My pay-per-view crowds were there, and if you ask 500 people, they'll probably say this pay-per-view was the one that was better than the first one.
All right, Rich.
If you want to see a huge variety of wrestling, go and watch my pay-per-view. And if you want to see one of the best tag team matches in wrestling history, watch my pay-per-view.
Okay, Jay.
AEW, the start of the revolution.
All right. Well, this was very, very close. Absolutely close, like a net swing. Just great arguments all around. Jay, you're bringing it back. You're just with your strong arguments. Jordan, people just throwing at you the fastballs and you're just knocking them out the park. Haven, your passion. I just, I feel your passion when you're talking about the matches that you're talking about. Even though you kind of forgot like some of the names. That's cool. Hey, you're selling me on the product. You're telling me, about these matches, and I'm excited to go back to actually watch these shows. Rich, man, your takedowns, and you're telling me about like your show and how great it is. It's just all around, like all the arguments are just great stuff, and like I'm just writing notes down like it's no tomorrow. Now, I gotta say that Haven. The thing is about your argument is that you harp too much on the matches rather than the moments, and that's the reason why I gotta take you out of this fight. Rich, it was more takedowns from your part rather than building up your own show, and with and this is where it comes down to. It comes down to Jordan and Jay, the complete opposite of the first round. And man, one thing, Jordan, you didn't fight back against the pandemic. I know it's not AEW's fault. It's nobody's fault. But you didn't fight back. You could have give me something and say to me like the fact that it's a beacon in this era of the pandemic era. You tell me like hey, despite the pandemic, it still was a great show. You
well,
gave me
I would say pandemic. I did respond to the crowd as far as being still sucked in by the moments. The only thing I said, yeah.
yeah, but you gave me some good points, and you tell me like that the show was so stacked that they had to move an important match like the NWA Women's Title to the pre-show. Jay, you gave me a lot of great points, but also like Jordan, he talked about Brett, and the championship. He didn't really fight back against that. But when it comes down to it, gotta give the point to Jay. Jay gets this point because, man, like if I'm not a wrestling fan and I'm listening to these arguments, I'm probably gonna go with Jay's argument. I'm gonna be like, man, like the stuff he's talking about, and it's you're like the perfect medium. You're not the the hardcore of hardcore, but then again, you're not out of the bubble. So like you're that good gateway for like the outsider looking in. Great stuff. Great arguments. Jay, you get that point, and Rich and Jay, you got 1 point on the board, and let's see if we get a comeback. Let's see if we get a comeback for our main event. Now, third round. War Games. What is the best War Games match? Let's start off with Haven.
All right. The best War Games match for me happened in WCW at the pay-per-view it used to be called, because the pay-per-view wasn't called War Games until, WWE dusted something off, because they needed more fans for their third brand. All right. The pay-per-view was actually called Fall Brawl 1998. Ooh, we at the height of the wrestling wars when we had 8 million people watching a show, on Monday nights, So we had this was the first time that we had 3 teams in the War Games match. We had Team WCW that was led by the Ultimate Warrior. We had Roddy Piper and Diamond Dallas Page on Team WCW. Then we had NW Hollywood, where we had Hulk Hogan in the match with the newly arrived Bret Hart. And out of all the people, Stevie Ray. This was before Hogan became racist, I guess. And then we had NWO Wolfpack. Woo! We had Big Sexy Kevin Nash. We had Sting with the red and black face paint. And we had his boy, Lex Luger, in this match. This match went 20 minutes and 6 seconds. Main event with Team WCW winning. And this match was pretty crazy. Before they introduced all the weapons and all that shit that we get now, before the cage was higher, so these little midgets could do all these spot monkey shit on the thing. We had big men, we had gladiators, we had legends in this match, kicking ass. And yeah, this is my pick.
Big sweaty men. And by the way, on a side note, Wolfpack Sting is probably my favorite Sting. Call me crazy. So go ahead, Rich. What is your favorite War Games match, or the best War Games match, I should say?
Best War Games match is the one you prior to Haven's on. That is 4 Horsemen versus NWO. You had just all the drama, and you had of Kurt Hennig, who had recently arrived in WCW, being taken out prior to the match. So you had 4 Horsemen at a disadvantage. Like, oh, can they overcome? And then they finally Kurt Hennig comes down. You're like, oh my god! Finally, the odds are. The odds are even, and boom! No good bastard. Attacks Ric Flair, and then just the emotion, and I think that's what makes really good War Games matches. Like the sort of you want to root for the baby face. You want the whole the sort of a good War Games matches wants you to sort of makes you want to. Yeah, it has heightened drama and heightened adversity makes you want the babyface to overcome all the odds, and I feel like this had it all, and proved that Ric Flair and any of the Horsemen can play, can be great baby faces in the right circumstances. So yeah.
All right. Jay, best War Games.
All right, best War Games is the first War Games for NXT War Games in Houston, Texas. And that's when you had the AOP with Roderick Strong in full AOP gear too, which was badass, versus Sanity, which in NXT they were I liked them. I mean, they were good shit. And then you had, of course, the best part of it, the Undisputed Era. I mean, that's undisputed. But so it's the first one in 20 years. And I mean, truthfully, I've only watched it one time. I watched it the one time it came out. That was the only time I watched it. But it was a damn good pay-per-view. Or not pay-per-view, War Games. I don't even give a shit about the rest of the pay-per-view, just War Games. And that match alone was 3 different teams in there, and all of them whooping ass. I mean, I don't watch WCW. I've seen clips. I've heard of stuff about, the original War Games in WCW, and but I've never really caught any of it, watched any of it. I might have seen clips. So this is the first one in 20 years. So again, go to people that haven't watched wrestling in years, or I mean, it just seems like NXT. They weren't a hot up and come. They were they owned by WWE, but they're not Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. So to hear this War Games, and I'm like, all right. And then I see it. I'm like, man, that was a badass match. I mean, sure, Undisputed Era lost, and that kind of sucked. I mean, they were coming hot into that match, and I mean, but you had the other 2 big man. I mean, Akam and Razor, Roderick Strong, and then Sanity. I mean, again, another big guy. So you got that, monster versus monster in the cage kind of match, but there's 2 of them on one technically, and all the rest of the guys are kind of just smaller dudes. But hope Adam Cole doesn't hear that. Fucking don't want him a little pissed off. But he that was a really good match, and the reason I say that's better than any of the other 3 that have come out for NXT is because it was the first one. It, like I said, I never knew about it, so it brought interest to my eyes. And so when they said that they were going to be in LA for the second one, I went to that one. And don't get me wrong, that was a good War Games match. But the reason I bought them tickets to watch that match was because I watched that first War Games match, and I was like, that was badass. And again, not from seeing anything WCW, so that's why I go new school. I just think it was a good one for not A, knowing other ones, but B, out of the 4 new ones, that is, in my opinion, the best War Games.
All right, Jordan.
All right. Well, I'm going the most old school, but it's just 1 year before 97. It's Fall Brawl 1996. Team WCW, Sting, Lex Luger, Ric Flair, and Arn Anderson versus Team NWO, Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hogan, Kevin Nash, Sting, what? And Scott Hall. There's just so many things going into this. I think when you say the best, I think it's got to be the most memorable. This is easily the most memorable for me here because this is the first War Games where we have NWO. We've seen them run roughshod for several months here now, and you have all the A-list players here. I'll talk more about that later, but you have all the A-list players here coming to play, and of course, we already talked a little bit about it earlier. The Sting moment. What's up with Sting? Whose side is he really on? Holy shit, he just came out for NWO. Sting is evil. Wait a minute, Sting's out again. Well, there's 2 of them. What? Sting's walking away. Goodbye, Surfer Sting. We'll never see you again after this night. There's just so much going on here, so much layers. This thing out of all of them too got you the most excited to watch the product the next night on Nitro. This got you so ready for what is going on. It continued. This is red hot NWO, and this just keeps you. It's a great match too. On top of that, really lots of good moments here, and it's a real brawl of a War Games, and it's my favorite. Fall Brawl, 96.
Nice. All right, rebuttal time. Haven, you're up.
Good point.
Haven.
Put the joint down. Haven.
Mm-hmm.
He makes it sound
Haven.
That is true what he said there.
Great point.
I can't argue this. I cannot argue any of this.
I ain't never heard about that one either.
That's true? Really? Wow.
Hey, Bird.
Come on, Haven. You brought up my favorite Sting. You gotta fight for your pick.
We all got to hear this 1998 argument. Come on.
Yeah, I'm very curious because I got a lot of thoughts.
We're all curious here.
Haven, rebuttal time. Why is your pick better than everyone else's?
Haven?
There he is.
Hey, man.
Can you hear us, Haven? We are not the ghosts of Christmas past. Please reply.
We are the ghost of Wargames past, though. And we're asking you about 98. He has no idea. Hello?
Hey,
I don't know. I don't know if he can hear us. He's got the headphones on.
He's got to see us, like, moving our lips. He's not even listening to the arguments if that's what he thinks we're doing.
hey, man. Sorry.
Okay, his screen froze.
He's moving on mine, just choppy.
He's moving on mine. It's choppy. Haven.
All right.
Smoking a cigarette.
Okay.
Oh,
Excuse me.
yeah.
Mine was the best, right? Because, yeah, Jordan said, the first time we seen Sting, but Sting didn't do shit in the match. He came out, and then, they showed that there was a fake Sting. He hit him, and then he left the match. In my match, he was red and black. He was part of Team Wolfpack. That was the hottest thing, the second hottest thing in wrestling, maybe the first, because Four Horsemen already played out. Oh, we had a coked up Roddy fucking Piper. All right. So check this out. Check this shit out. When you have a coked up Roddy fucking Piper, rest in peace, Roddy Piper. No disrespect, but when you fucking go into a match and God damn it. Yo, I'm here.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah,
You go.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Fuck.
Oh, man. Go.
It was going well. You were talking about coked up Roddy Piper.
Yo, hello.
Yeah, man. You go.
Hello?
Yep.
Hello.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
My
We can
shit's
hear you.
dead. All right, hold on.
He was going well. And the points, coked up Roddy Piper. Okay. We'll get back to him once he's back on the stream. Though I don't know if it's fair because he's got to hear the arguments. Dead air. The worst thing that you can have on a stream. Please stay.
Oh my God! Well, here's breaking news: Matt Jackson's crotch just fell off.
Hey.
I was playing too hard with it. Sorry.
Yeah. Don't play too hard with it. That's the advice we used to get when we were kids.
Alright.
Okay, go on.
Here's the crotch. If anyone was interested, see if I can apply that back on.
I would just love for you to go to a signing and give that crotch to one of the Young Bucks and be like, sign this crotch.
I have an item for you, Matt. Look me in the eyes as you sign it. All right, on. I don't know how well though.
Okay.
Well,
All right. Haven will be back. He's restarting his shit because he's like his phone is fucking up.
I'm gonna do a quick bathroom break then.
All right. I guess we can have a bit of a break if anybody wants to go to the bathroom or anything.
I'm good, man. I just hang out with the dude.
Since since this show is called Desire of Wrestling, whenever I think of Desire, I can only think of one song. Like forever. Come on, Jordan. When you are with me,
I'm free.
I'm careless. I
I'm believe.
will fly, which brings tears to my eyes, my sacrifice. Before Nickelback, there was Creed.
Yeah.
Right in between Kid Rock and Nickelback, there was Creed.
Bar with the bar. My first question tonight on trivia that I hosted was, what year was the last WCW Wargames on pay-per-view?
We just
It's 99 2000, right? One of the.
no, well,
Pay-per-view.
pay-per-view. Fall Brawl 98.
Yep, 98. Yeah, 2000, it was just on an episode of Nitro.
Nitro.
They had the Triple H, right?
Yeah. Oh, was it a triple K? Is that how they did the final Fall Brawl? Yeah, I think so. Or the final War Games.
Yeah. It was Russo's Revenge.
We all need revenge on him.
Was that the one where Nash and Steiner and Jarrett like walked out at the same time, or was it the one where Russo wins the title?
It's not where Russo won the title, I don't think.
Yeah,
That's the cage that like he gets thrown through, right?
yeah, he gets speared and he
Was
got.
that actually legit meant to happen? Was that meant to happen? Was that actually a botch when he was actually meant to go through when he went through that thing?
I don't know. I've never heard of him being a botch. He was always held. He was planning on winning the title that night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was weird. Like Russo keeps on saying like he didn't want to, put himself over. But dude, you made yourself a character on the show. I mean, come on.
Mm.
Hey, bro. Listen,
But-
bro.
But I will give him something though. I will say one thing positive about Russo in 2000 is that at least he gave everybody something to do. Everybody felt like they were doing something. Freaking Kwee was doing something. He had Charmel. He had Charmel before Booker T.
That's a good question.
Every night Booker T is like, "What are you doing with that glitter?" There we go. Haven's back.
Hey now.
Welcome back, Haven. We were just listening to Creed.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'll get back. I'll be short and sweet. All right. When you had like I was saying, Roddy Piper, he's so fucked up before the match. he starts attacking his own tag team partner, Diamond Dallas Page, right? Don't even know who the hell his teammates are, right? You had Hogan in the match, you had Bret Hart in the match, you had Sting in this match, Kevin Nash in the match, DDP, Lex Luger. But the craziest shit is Hulk Hogan was so scared of Ultimate Warrior, he leaves the cage, right? And Ultimate Warrior grabs onto the cage and starts kicking the cage. He kicks the cage open, not the door. He literally kicks the cage open from the side, rips the cage open, crawls out, runs out of the ring, and starts beating the shit out of Hulk Hogan. Mad security had to come, big ruckus. And then WCW actually got the win on the NWO. You know, NWO Wolfpack and NWO Hollywood. They both lost to WCW. You know, so the match was just crazy as shit for being WCW. I already talked about Jordan's thing. Richie, yeah, the Four Horsemen were scrubs and they lost to the NWO. Okay, whatever. And then we had Jay. You know, he's talking about NXT's first one, and he watched it 20 years after, but he never watched another War Games before that. So, and then half those people already fired from WWE. So, how memorable are those guys now? You know, yeah, they had one good match, and half of those guys are gone. So, yeah. At least my match, you know, there's legends. Legends in the match. Legends last longer than flashes in the pan.
All right. Rich.
All right, I'll start off, Jay. The thing is with this is our one. There's like sort of a story going into it where there's an emotional investment with the story. With NXT one, like the whole selling point is like the first War Games thing. But other than that, it's just three teams. Like it's like I mean AOP and AOP needing a third guy, so Roderick Strong was there for some like reason in a vest, which I know it's subjective, but I thought it looked silly. But and then like I mean the match was fine, but there's no sort of emotional investment beyond the fact it was the first one. With Jordan's one, I would say. Like Habe said, it's like it's this whole selling point. I thought it's cool. That's the last surface thing, but like again, he's hardly in the match. Like he spends the whole time sort of brooding because like his team is accusing him of being in allegiance with NWO, so he has a pout and leaves. So it's not like. I understand that there's also the whole NWO thing, but it's like again, and then like with the villain with Hayden, it's like I think that's sort of emblematic of what the problem with 98 WCW and beyond is that that's very convoluted fucking booking. And then like I mean I'm not going to pretend I'm not going to like get coked out like Roddy Piper. It's not like entertaining, but like it's not like there can only be like you can only do this for so long before it becomes kind of sad, and it's like overbooking kind of mess. And I feel like 97 was the first year of WCW where it's where they got the booking right, sort of the emotional investment right, and it ultimately led to a really great feud between Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect.
All right, Jay. Rebuttal time. Why is your pick better than everyone else's?
All right, so I can't really again talk shit on anybody's because it's fucking stuff I don't really know that I watch, but I'm gonna still talk shit anyways. So we go to Havens. I mean, I love the NWO, especially Wolfpack NWO. Like I said, I watch shit on YouTube, so I know who they are. I play. I got them. But whoever they were going against, there's some oldie moldies of some kind. So I don't know who the fuck they are. So then we go to Richie. We go to the Four Horsemen. I know who the Four Horsemen are again. It's wrestling. If you know the Four Horsemen, that's kind of it's like being a man and not owning a tape measure. But hey, and then we go to Jordan's, and maybe I'm just stoned, but I really don't remember yours right now. So I guess what was his? Can I get a recap on what his was?
No.
Okay, yours just sucks anyways then. NXT, I mean, it's better than WWE in my opinion. Again, I wasn't going for, when I went to the second one, I mean, I wasn't going for Raw or SmackDown. I was going to go see War Games. So again, I think if it's for people that don't really know War Games, or, sure, I could search it on YouTube. I could have watched a bunch of War Games last night, but instead I decided to play, I think, wrestling for most of my night, 2K19. But, I mean, to me, that's just, you got NXT they're in charge of War Games now. WCW ain't even around anymore. So, I mean, if somebody types in War Games, I mean, the first thing that's going to pop up is NXT. So, again, you bring a little kid into a store, I'm going to take that one from you. You take them into a store and you ask for War Games. I mean, shit, I don't even think they make VHS anymore. I don't think any of those are on DVD. So, at least War Games, you're going to get handed the DVD or get handed the WWE Network card, which then in return, yes, you could watch the WCW on there. So, that kind of contradicts me. But I mean, at least they had probably a physical copy at the store. So who knows? You probably buy that. It's cheaper. If it's $20 and the network's $30, that little kid's getting fucking NXT War Games, the first one. And that's where I am.
All right. The VHS format, by the way, is probably the best format in my opinion. Like, I can't go against it. Absolutely not. Don't you be giving me any Blu-rays. Don't be giving me that Blu-ray look. All right. Jordan.
All right, so Blu-ray is better than VHS. Wait, sorry, wrong debate. War Games. Okay, 1998, Haven. I think we all rolled our eyes a little bit when you threw that out there. Arguably the worst, over-bloated War Games. The first one that had the three ways for some reason. War Games works best when it is Team A wanting to destroy Team B and vice versa. Not where Team A is mad at Team B, but not kind of fine with Team C, and vice versa, and all that. The emotion and the brutality of it, and it's bloated. NWO is split off into two layers here because everyone's got egos here. It's the height of wrestling. It's really that tipping point where we're getting bloated, and NWO is running a little long in the tooth here at this point. So it's really we're starting to go down here. And dude, you said it earlier. I was definitely going to bring up though, poor British Bulldog, because we had a shitty Warrior spot. His career was ended pretty much because of this night. Horseman versus NWO. One cool moment. That's about it here. I mean, it really kind of led to nothing here. I mean, the Horsemen were not the main antagonists of the NWO later on. This was just kind of a feud for those first couple months here. And what we remember more than anything is Kevin Nash in a fat suit making fun of Arn Anderson's promo. That's what we remember more than this match. And also, too, look at your Team NWO, man. My Team NWO is A-list. Hogan, Nash, Sting, Hall. Your NWO includes Bagwell, Six, and Conan. They threw out the B squad. This was not the priority of 1997 was your War Games. This was them going, what's Conan doing? Nothing cool. Put him in War Games. NXT, I don't know, man. First of all, again, another three-way here. We're just not it killed some of the emotion here because it just becomes another spot fest here. And this was the first NXT one where it wasn't just people wanting to kill each other. It was, let's go into the ring and have some toys. There's obviously no blood in WWE, so that also kills any kind of layer of it being a real a brawl and a fight. And also, too, where the hell was the top? It was just a cage. It wasn't a War Games match. It's a cage match. It's a really big ass cage. When you get War Games, you think it's structured, but no, they got to put no top because that way people can now fly off, and it just becomes a spot fest and it's no longer the fight that it used to be. War Games. Just going back to mine here, man. You had the epitome of WCW versus NWO here, and you mentioned Sting not being in it much. Yeah, okay, they sacrificed Sting not being in it for that moment, and then everything else around it is great. It's like saying the War Games with the women last year isn't as good because a couple of them got taken out beforehand. It's still a really good match because they built everything around it here, and they told not only a great match, they told a great story within it. You didn't need Sting involved because they had plenty of else going in it.
All right, Haven. Haven. Final statements, Haven.
This seems familiar. Anyone else feeling some deja vu right now?
Haven.
Gotta hit him with a caca.
Haven. Final rate 98's the best. Please.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, shit, he's here.
Final statements time.
People are saying, "Oh, my work." God damn it. Can you guys hear me or not?
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. Hold on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, here we go. You know, my match, yeah, it was a little different, but War Games then wasn't going on for like 10 years where they had a built-in set. It didn't have to be one team versus one team. Mine was the first one that had three teams. And then the same thing with Jay's. His was the first one that had three teams when they brought it back. My teams were overall the best. You talk about the Four Horsemen or even WCW. We had Ric Flair, the little midget, when you had Kevin Nash, on the NWO team that's almost 7 foot. You got Scott Hall at 6'8", Hulk Hogan at 6'6". In my match, we had a legend in Roddy Piper. We had an up and comer, DDP, that was breaking into the heavyweight division. We had the Ultimate Warrior that was a legend, legend hands down. You had Hulk Hogan, you had Kevin Nash, you had Sting, you had Lex Luger, you had some crazy stuff, and then the other ones. The only thing that happened in the first two, right? The one that Jordan brings up. Sting. Oh, it's a fake Sting. Here's the real Sting. He leaves. All right. And the one Richie brings up. Oh shit. Oh, now we got Mr. Perfect in here, Kurt Hennig. Oh, he turned on the Four Horsemen. He can't even tell you the three other guys that were in the match. He never even brought up who the Four Horsemen were at that time because who really cares? And then NXT, yeah, it was fun. You had up and comers, but Sanity, I never really cared for them. AOP, whatever. Like I said, they were flash in the pan. They came and went. They never did shit. And at least mine, you always had that memorable moment of the Ultimate Warrior banging out people, in one of his only WCW matches, he only had like 4. So this was a big one on a pay-per-view. And just that visual image of him breaking through the cage like you've never seen done before or after, where he kicks the fucking cage and slides through. I'm surprised he didn't cut himself, on the cage, cut an arm or a leg, but he just showed his power and he still looked at goddamn like a man made from stone. This shit was just crazy. Hulk Hogan still looked the coolest shit. You had the only brother in any of these matches in my match. So the only African American, and out of all these 4 War Games matches was Stevie Ray. So that was big ups to him. And mine was fun as shit. Like I said, it's 20 minutes and 6 seconds. You could go watch it, bang it out, and it's a fun main event. Nobody else can tell you the time, the year, the date, whatever. But that's it. That's all I have.
All right. Rich, final statement.
All right. So, yes, the Ultimate Warrior spot in the 98 night match might have been cool, but it also ultimately led to the end of someone's career, which ultimately led to his addiction to painkillers. So that's the thing I think of when I think of that match. Unfortunately, and so I don't know. I don't know. I can't get my mind off of that really. The first War Games match, yeah, it's a cool War Game. It's a cool War Games match. Again, there's no real story beyond 3 teams having a match. It's cool. It's cool spot fests, but cool. And then it's got AOP in there. I mean, yeah, they were cool for what they were at the time, but yeah, and having you say that, I wouldn't know. I don't mention the 4 Horsemen were. There was Benoit, Mongo McMichael, Ric Flair, and well, obviously, Kurt Hennig at the time. So anyway, Jordan, but yeah, like the thing is, like the only thing I remember from that, your War Games match is the Stink thing. So, but that could happen in any sort of match, really. You know what I mean? So, and like so. Like, you know, which is because he didn't do anything in that match. He just sort of he left because of being offended that people wanting him to thought he was going to join the NWO. So I mean, it sort of the War Games was kind of like took a back seat to that angle. So yeah, but like in regards to. In regards to like the angle with that was the whole that was the whole that was the whole talking about the whole show. It was talking about the whole match. It played into the match. So yeah.
All right, Jay. Final statement.
All right, so I'll agree. Again, this is kind of shitty on my part, but I agree with Jordan. The fact that there is no top on my cage, I will agree with you on that. That is, knowing what the other War Games match or cage would look like. Yes, that's kind of false advertisement, but it was still good. Then we go to Haven's statement, Sanity, fucking AOP, Roderick Strong. Yeah, fuck all those guys. I agree, they all suck because ain't none of them undisputed era. And if you think about this, that match is like Undertaker's first Mania. I mean, sure, we don't got a streak going, no, but undisputed, that is their house. I mean, that is year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. That's Undisputed's match. I mean, I don't care who they put in there. And I know Undisputed may not be NXT forever, but they're gonna go down in history for being in the first 4 fucking War Games matches, and after 20 years, after all them oldie moldy peoples. But otherwise than that, again, I really can't talk shit on any of your guys's. I mean, you guys pretty much did well on that on each of your own. So mine's just in a different decade or a couple decades away, but it was good. And I mean, like I said, maybe one day I will catch the other War Games, but in my opinion, newer generation, NXT, first War Game, Houston, Texas, which, just so you know, Haven, I could be wrong on this, but I'm going to say 2018.
Right.
It's evident.
And that's it for me. Yep.
Okay. Jordan, final statement.
All right, let's wrap up this War Games talk, guys. I mean, Haven, you mentioned it. It had been going for 10 years. It was a set tradition of, the main good guys fighting the main bad guys. This was the first year that they went bloated with 3 ways, and guess what? There's a reason why it was the last year that they did this as well on pay-per-view. If this match was great, they would have done it again in '99 with 3 more teams, but this got such wacky reviews, and it was so all over the place that they didn't do it in '99. You mentioned Piper being coked up. Yeah, that's fun. It's a train wreck, but this doesn't make it the best match. That makes it a fun train wreck to watch once and then go, man, that was rough. Warrior breaking through. Everything was Warrior in WCW, from the mirror stunt on Nitro to this was just hokey. I think you mentioned the times. Good to get, like, we didn't know our times. Okay, you Googled it. Cool. We all could have Googled our times. Your match is only 20 minutes, and that's because they rushed through it. War Games actually is a match that should be lengthy because it tells a story and you're invested in it. 20 minutes just means that they got in and out. Because by the time everyone's in it, it was probably towards the 15-minute mark when everyone finally got in the damn thing, 9 people. Richie, you definitely Googled who the 4 Horsemen was. You didn't know the 4 Horsemen. Don't act like you did. Again, you guys mentioned Sting. Yeah, everything else that was around it, though, telling that story. And don't act like your heart didn't break when you thought Sting was evil. And your heart rose when he came out, and then your heart went what when he left again. And everything else was around it, though. This was peak NWO, where you were so invested in, can WCW get that one-uppance? And NWO found a way once more to just squeak out that victory here, and in a really interesting way that led you wanting to know what was going on the very next night. And we've all talked about NXT one. It was fun, but you said it earlier, you saw it once, I saw it once, and out of all of these, even the train arc one, I'd probably watch that again before I watch that NXT one again. Those all NXT ones blend in to a large degree. Mine has the moments, the matches. It's got that great simple brawling of the story of NWO somehow squeaking out that win once more against WCW. That's why I'm going with mine.
All right. Well, take a breather, Jordan. Take a breather. Okay. Now, if if I wasn't the host of this, if I'm just like looking at a piece of paper and looking at all the War Games matches and seeing like the picks that you guys picked, I would have been like, you know what? This is a strong pick. These are strong picks, but like Haven's pick is just out of whack. Like it's crazy. Like why would you put this in like the best War Games matches? But I gotta say, Haven, like he brought it. He really brought it in this argument. I was like, wow, he actually bring up a lot of great points, like the fact that the star power and all of that. So like I put him in like in definitely in the running. Jay, you kind of knocked yourself out because like at the end you kind of conceded to everybody else. You could have like given an argument that the fact that there is no roof gave like the more creativity. They were able to do more spots and everything like that. So you could have said that, but you knocked yourself out. Rich, again, they double teamed you in the fact that that you didn't remember like the people that were in the Horsemen at the time, and not just that, but you kind of didn't like tell us much about the storyline. So I'm like Jordan and Haven, like you're thinking about star power or like the whole everything going around it. Jordan, you brought it at the end. I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you to bring up like the mirror spots. I was waiting for you to bring up like the clusterfuck that match was, and the fact that they didn't do another War Games in a pay-per-view after that. Like that match like killed it for WCW at that time. And I agree with you that your match was at the peak of the creativity that WCW had. Like it was the storylines and everything. So I got to give it to Jordan. Jordan gets that. Man, I was so close to giving it to Haven, but like that final statement when you brought it up, yeah. And I think another thing is that Warrior did like tear something in his legs when he tried to kick out of that cage, when he tried to get out. So that's one of the reasons why he had one of the worst matches of all time. All right. The fourth round. All right, everybody. What is your biggest pet peeve in wrestling? Let's start off with
speed.
What's that?
Is this a speedier round or no? Is it
no? We got two more rounds, and then we get to the third round. All right.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Biggest pet peeve. Start off with Rich.
All right. It is the over-reliance, especially in WWE, but every company is the over-reliance on the roll-up of victory pin. Usually preceded by a distraction. It is so annoying. It is like so overly done, and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't get anyone over, in my opinion. It just makes me believe that the person got a fluke victory and that the person beat themselves. It doesn't. I can't. I don't. Especially because when it's a babyface doing it, so it's like, oh, the babyface needed help to win. Oh, the babyface would relied on the fact that the heel got distracted by music, or the babyface got distracted by someone else coming down. It just doesn't make me feel sympathy for the babyface at all. I don't get how I don't get why people can't just like hit their move, which by hit a finishing move and winning. Like I don't know how why the schoolboy has become this also powerful move all of a sudden.
All right. The distraction roll-ups for Rich. Okay. Jay, your biggest pet peeve in wrestling?
All right, mine goes to the roly-poly pins. And mainly I see women, but I can't bitch about AEW. I mean, I can't say, I can't complain about AEW because they've done it once or twice. And I think it was men on their show, but I could be wrong. But where you just, flip them over one time, 1-2, and then they flip back over 1-2, flip back over 1-2, and you kind of roll around the ring doing that shit. That's so stupid.
Right.
That's mine.
Okay, Jordan.
Okay, mine is murder. We all know we live in the world of kayfabe's dead. All right, on Raw and SmackDown, where you're supposed to believe in something, and then Sunday on the network they'll show you a documentary showing you how it was all fake. But you're still trying to invest in yourself. You suspend the disbelief. You for some reason we all care whether or not who wins a predetermined victory here. But then there are just certain things, man. Like even you're talking about the last War Games. What was it? Rhea had like a giant ass like hammer, and she's using it in the ring. I'm like, that's a broken rib. She just hit her in the head. That would be internal bleeding. She'd probably be dead. And then just straight up murder. Now, recently on Impact, man, Impact's been doing really good stuff here. They got such a tight roster. I definitely was for the first time ever. I rushed a trivia match because I was like, I gotta watch Impact. Omega's doing some weird. But then, like all of a sudden, as soon as they have good hype, they murder Johnny Bravo, and like it's a laughing stock, you know. And Lucha Underground, even though they were cinematic, even that threw me off when Brian Cage would murder somebody in a skit, or you have Vince McMahon's limo, which turned into be nothing. And I don't know, just anytime someone is straight up murdered on camera, Paul Bearer with the cement. I don't know, guys. Like, come on. Like, I can suspend disbelief. I can buy into a phenom. I can buy into all sorts of wacky things. But at some degree here, I got to go, okay, come on. Come on.
All right, Haven, your biggest pet peeve in wrestling.
All right. Everybody else's points. I mean, yeah, but that's storytelling. That's wrestling matches. My pet peeve is when you're watching a match and somebody keeps adjusting their fucking gear. Every other move, they stop, and then they got to pull their tights up. They got to adjust their fucking shirt. They got to, squeeze their fucking wedgie out. And it's like, yeah, you don't really do that in a real fight. If you're trying to win or trying to beat somebody, you're not gonna be there every time you fucking do a hip toss. Oh, I gotta adjust my pants. Oh, you throw the person out the ring. Oh, I gotta adjust my tights. When you see somebody keep just grabbing their pants or adjusting their shirt, that just throws me off. That takes me out the match. That's my biggest pet peeve. It's like you're getting paid a lot of money. Just get some fucking gear that you don't have to adjust. That throws me out more than storylines and matches, because everybody else is just talking about what they add into a storyline, or what they add in a wrestling show. When they're adjusting their gear 20 times a match, that's not storyline. That's not match flow. That's distraction and shit, and it's just annoying as fuck.
All right, Jordan. Now we go to rebuttal time.
All right. So, I mean, for all three of these, man, I just feel like they're so nitpicky that it's like a little annoying if you think about it. But then I don't know. At least I very much move on from all of these when they do happen. The role's been mentioned. First of all, only in the last like few months, I feel like WWE has been really high on it, and I do think fast forward 6 months to a year, they're probably going to move away from it. Just like how every match was 2 out of 3 falls for a hot minute, if you remember that. I just think for whatever reason, it's who's ever writing or it's a new thing Vince likes. So let's keep them both looking kind of strong. So yeah, it's a little annoying, but I don't know, man. I think it's a nitpicky thing that us smart marks do to a degree too. I don't think a lot of the casual fans are like, "Oh, Ricochet just won because of a roll up." They're like, "Oh yeah, Ricochet won," and they move on. Jay, I've never even heard the term roly poly pin. I see what you're saying, but at the same time, I feel like now you're even more nitpicking because I don't think that happens all that much. It's something maybe a couple people do, like, and then they do the big clap afterwards after their 7 near falls, but like it doesn't happen all that much for me to say that it's one of the worst nitpicky things that grind my gears. And the gear thing, I get it actually. Funny enough, I trained a little bit to be a pro wrestler, and that was actually something my trainer would mention. He'd be like, "Stop fixing your gear." But I actually do argue when you are in a fight in real life. I'm sorry, man. Like especially a woman, yeah, you do kind of fix yourself when you have the time because you are on camera, and even these wrestlers, even in kayfabe land, are on camera, and it happens. And I also feel like it doesn't happen all that much. Sometimes it's with new gear or certain people, but it happens. I feel like so rarely that it doesn't matter all that much to me. Mine, like I said, just sucks me out of the moment. It just makes me roll my eyes. It makes if I'm watching with someone who's not a wrestling fan, like, this is what I watch. Well, the other things I don't think anyone would turn the TV off for. They're very small things. Well, mine, I just sucks you right out.
All right. Rich, rebuttal.
All right. Okay. With I think with the gear thing, I don't think it's really like unless like someone points it out to you, I don't think it's really that much of an issue. And also but yeah, I think in an actual fight, you would I watch UFC and stuff like that, and occasionally you'd see, and that's actual fights, and sometimes you would see people adjust their gear and stuff. So it happens. So I don't think it's too far out of reality. Regards to Jordan, I don't feel like it's an actual. I mean, it's not I don't think it happens that often to be. I don't know. I feel like it's weird that it doesn't happen that often. I'm confused that it happened that often to be a pet peeve. I understand there's probably things that was that sometimes wrestling does ask you to suspend disbelief too much a bit, but you cite that the Impact thing recently, but that was obviously it was just completely played for comedy, and it was Tommy Dreamer going no, you weren't meant to. It was just that was meant to be ridiculous. It was fun, and yeah, I don't know, and I just don't think it's as much of a overplayed thing as maybe you make it out to be, sort of thing. And I don't know, the roly poly thing. I mean, I do agree it's sort of silly, but again, I don't think it happens as much as you think it does. But yeah, I mean, that does look silly, but there's a lot of moves in wrestling that are kind of silly, but I don't think it's it doesn't. Yeah, I can't tell you the last time I saw it. It doesn't. I wouldn't say it happens in every match. Just now and again it'll happen. So yeah, I don't. I feel like the roll up, the roll up thing. There's a reliance on it lately, but also it's always been a thing for years. Where the distraction roll up thing has been for years, especially in WWE, where someone gets distracted by music. Oh, roll up. Or someone's coming. Someone's coming down the ramp. Oh, roll up. That's been a thing for years. It's not a new thing. So yeah, yes, there might be an over reliance on roll ups now, where multiple times a match in one show, but the roll up, the distraction roll up finish has been around for years.
All right, Jay, rebuttal.
Yep, I'm here. All right, so to each one of them. So to Jordan, I keep wanting to call you Jason, but Jordan. I say that. I mean, murder is entertainment. I mean, it's still, it's murder is entertainment, I guess. I mean, in Vince's eyes, at least. But I don't really see nothing wrong with that myself. I mean, it's all good with me. Richie's, I feel like goes with mine, but it doesn't go with mine since mine is the roly-poly fucking... And, the most memorable one that I have in my mind is... unfortunately, I don't remember the WrestleMania, but it's a WrestleMania. And you had him doing it in the middle of the ring on WrestleMania, and I'm just like, really? With this shit? I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's not happened all the time, but it still happens. And that would just be like the murder. Murder doesn't happen all the time, but it happens. The jockstrap one, I could see that. And I mean, at the same time, if you're a wrestler or, fighting and you started to get a wedgie up the ass, I mean, hey, you're going to want to fix that. I mean, you're going to want to fucking stand there the whole time with, damn, that's painful. So, I mean, I think, I get it. Try not to get it when the camera's looking right at you, but shit, I don't know. But I don't know. I just feel like that's one of my... If I would have been more logical thinking earlier, I might have had something better, but that was just the first thing that came to my head was... Actually, I don't even know what to call it. I just call it the roly-poly pin. I mean, I just know it's some shit to look at when they do it, but yeah, that's my take on it.
Okay. Haven, you're up.
All right. Up. Okay. You know what? Murder is great in wrestling. I mean, when Hollywood Hogan ran that 18-wheeler into the ambulance when The Rock was there, that shit was entertainment. That shit was a memory. You know, when Jay is talking about the roly polies, I think what he means is when, let's say somebody does a back suplex, they hold on to the guy. 1, 2, the guy lifts up, rolls out. That's stamina. That shows a class of stamina, endurance from the wrestlers, and they go back and forth, kicking up. 1, 2, 3, oh, 1, 2, oh, 1, 2, oh. That's entertainment in the ring. That's in the middle of the match, right before the climax, and that shit is really endurance heavy and stamina heavy, and that is amazing to see these athletes do. And then when you have the roll-ups, yeah, that'd be a nitpick if I was just a WWE fan, but I'm not. I'm a wrestling fan, and you don't see that bullshit in New Japan Pro Wrestling. You don't see that bullshit in AEW at the moment, like every fucking third match. You don't see that shit in ROH. You know, Impact is more WWE light, so you might see a couple of those type of things. But most on is a finisher, boom, boom, boom. And that's the thing about Richie's thing. Yeah, if we were just talking about WWE, yeah, that'd be a problem. But when I'm watching wrestlers wrestle, and then they do a move, and then the camera's on them, and then they're not going to their opponent. They're not finishing them off. They're stopping. Oh, hold on. Oh, my pants. Okay. Oh, arm drag. Hold on. Oh, my pants. Oh, clothesline. Oh shit. Hold on. Oh, it's like what the like. I don't want to see that shit. You're throwing me out the match when the guy's on the floor that could just get up and kick your ass while you're adjusting your gear. You're standing there. Oh, hold on. Okay. And that just like that takes the flow out of the match. Everything else everybody talked about was a flow of a match. My stuff is just unnecessary, and it distributes the flow in the match, where it just makes it awkward when they do it too many times. And a lot of companies, a lot of people just do that as a bad habit. Not everybody does it, but if you're a true wrestling fan, you watch that shit, you're like, what the fuck, man? It just really throws me out the match when somebody does it constantly, where you can really see where it's like, oh man, this is ridiculous. As a true wrestling fan, you're like, nah, that's just it just throws me off. For me, my nitpick. Everybody else has their legitimate nitpicks, because that's what they see and what they don't like. But for me, when I see that, it just kills me. When I'm like, come on, man. Then you wonder why the ratings are low, man. When everything is just like, come on, man, you gotta like I don't know. That to me just bothers the shit out of me, because you didn't see that back in the day. You didn't see that shit. When Richie bring up UFC, man, they wear fucking tight ass shorts. If you're in a UFC match and you keep fucking adjusting your gear, you're getting knocked the fuck out in a real match. And in WWE, when it's choreographed, or in wrestling when it's choreographed, that shit shouldn't be happening 10 times, 20 times in a match. Like it just makes it look sloppy.
All right. Final statement time, guys. Jordan, go ahead.
All right, man. So we're gonna rate what I was been talking about here. I mean, talking about the gear. I do agree, man. I've been in a couple of fights, and yeah, if my pants are sagging, I'm gonna pull them up, and if I have a moment. So it's true, and that's just because the eighth graders are watching my little shitty fight. So of course you're gonna do it, and if you're on camera in front of everybody, you're gonna fix yourself. And it doesn't happen all that much. Same thing with the roll up and the roly poly. These aren't things that make you shut off the TV. What makes me shut off the TV is just eye-rollingly bad stories of murder or attempted murder. Just where you go, okay, we're working past there. I know it's entertainment, but you have better ways of entertaining me than going, okay, these two men in this reality are now literally shooting each other, setting each other on fire, killed in jail, whatever the case is. Like I said, these other things just don't happen that much. The roly poly, when done in the right way, is super entertaining. It shows you how talented these guys are. And when it first started, it made you, clap at the end of it. And it was a great moment, like in ECW. I think it's kind of where it started with these and WCW cruiserweights with these big back and forths. Like I said, everything else here, they're nitpicky things to where, you might go, but you're not going to shut off the TV. You're going to go, oh, WWE is doing too many roll-ups. But as Haven said, well, you got 7 other companies you can watch. And in a year from now, I bet you we won't be talking about it. The gear thing, again, you mentioned shutting it off. You're not going to shut off the TV because Ronda Rousey pulled on her gear too much. You're going to shut off the TV when you're rolling your eyes and you're embarrassed to watch this with, non-wrestling fans. That's why they mine's worse. And that car agrees.
Rich, final statement.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure like it's the pulling the gear thing. It's probably it's an issue like that. Like you know like you know. It was sort of brought up to me when you know so I watched that OSW review. So you know it was brought up to me when that you know that they pointed it out. But if they didn't point it out, I wouldn't know. So it's like, and it's not going to distract me from the product. I mean, it's kind of annoying. And yes, people in USD do adjust their gear, so it is, but it does play in reality a little bit. But yeah, and I the murder thing. I just you're sort of playing off like oh, these other things don't happen as much in wrestling as you say they do. But like I don't think murder really does either. Like I mean I know like there's sort of instances in WWE, and you mentioned the Impact thing, which it was just meant to be played for last. And yeah, it's clearly just meant to be just funny thing. But like yeah, but like and yes. I know, like it's the roll up thing is weighed heavily towards WWE, but like there is, I have just this week I saw it. I saw the roll up distraction in Impact. I did see it on Dark, so it is not. It's not. It is like. It is sort of like this go-to booking idea for other companies as well. I know, like probably, like yeah, yes, New Japan aren't probably going to do that, but yeah, but it is sort of, it is sort of a very go-to hacky kind of booking decision across the wrestling landscape as opposed to WWE. But yeah, I will bet that it weighs heavily to WWE.
All right, Jay. Final statement.
All right, so I mean, I should have just truthfully went with my first one. Fucking concessions are just too damn much at a wrestling event. But hey,
I think you just made a great argument that I would have agreed with.
but yeah, I mean, like I said, the murder deal. I mean, that's. I mean, really, all of our statements are all technically part of it, with the exception of Havens. But you know, it's entertainment. That's no matter what company it is. I get it, but that is, you know, I mean, just the roly-poly. It's kind of like what you said. You know, you got somebody you're watching it with, and they see that up on TV. They ain't gonna watch that shit again. I mean, who the hell wants to watch roly-poly wrestling? Yeah. So, I mean,
I'm sure there were fans of
basically
Roly Poly if you guys remember that. All right, Haven. Final statement.
All right. My final statement is, like I said, the roly-poly I'm fine with. That's endurance. That's stamina. It looks really cool, back and forth, close, close pins. Oh shit. False finishers, whatever you want to call it. The murder thing. Well, we get murders. We get murders maybe once a year. I mean, unless you're having a bunch of friends over every fucking Monday night, every Wednesday night, every Thursday night. Like the last time we had that shit was in Impact, and barely people watch Impact. Like I've never seen a murder thing in ROH. I haven't seen a murder thing in New Japan. So yeah, WWE did it a handful of times, but and the roll-ups has been always there in wrestling. I mean, that's never gonna go away. That's a wrestling move. Like you can give it to a wrestler that you create in the wrestling game. The roll-up is there. Yeah, it's used way ridiculously. I mean, WWE beat that shit to death with the 24/7 title. That's how anybody wins that, is with a roll-up. Yeah, when you're having a match and every 3 matches there's fucking a roll-up. Yeah, that's kind of sucks, but that's booking. But my shit is like in a real fight. Like, yeah, I'm a former Marine, so if I see some motherfuckers pants down or they gonna adjust their shit, I'm flying in and I'm fucking them up. If you're gonna go for your gear, I'm winning that shit on some knock you the fuck out shit. So in real life, yeah, if some motherfucker's gonna be stupid, have his pants sagging, or have a big ass T-shirt or some dumb shit, I'm destroying that dude. But in WWE, or in wrestling in general, you watch that shit for the flow of the match. And anything like a misstep, whatever, that's acceptable. But when it's adjusting your gear, that to me is just like, nah, man. That shit shouldn't be happening, man. Like, come on, man. I can understand maybe you know, I can't even understand it because it's like, no, it's like you have plenty of matches. You should have perfect gear where you don't have to keep adjusting your shit, adjusting your shit, adjusting your shit. That just, I don't know. To me, that's just uncalled for.
All right. Well, I do have a clear winner in this one. I didn't think that it would be. I thought it would be a lot tougher than I expected, but especially in the rebuttal moments, I do think that there was a clear winner, and of course in the final statements, I got to give this one to Haven in this one, mainly because there were moments that were explained where, like for example, Jordan, like your murder thing, like there are moments where it worked, like where it was entertaining. With Jay, like the quick pin, reverse pin. Haven, did bring up the fact that it's stamina, and with Rich, it's like a roll up, it's a move. But I got to go with Haven in this one because yeah, you're gonna get knocked the fuck out if there's like a small misstep. So I got to give this point to Haven in this one because there are no moments that I can remember where it actually worked, where it was like okay. So we got Haven, Rich, Jay, and Jordan on the scoreboard. So we're all tied up. Now we got the fifth round, and that is we know what's going to happen, guys. We know what's going to happen. All it takes is just one phone call from Vince McMahon. It's like, brother, I need you. I need you for WrestleMania or whatever. So let's get right into it. Starting off with Haven. If Undertaker comes back, who should he face?
Oh, you're starting with me?
Yep.
Okay.
We're live, pal.
I'm gonna say, all right. The one I'm gonna say is Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley looks like a beast. He wrestles in MMA, legit, good winning record. When he was with Bellator. Um, he's the same thing as Brock Lesnar, but Brock Lesnar, I guess, just gets more love because he wrestled for UFC and he signed more contracts. I mean, yeah, he's been a champion in TNA. He was the ECW champion, which I mean that don't mean shit. But Bobby Lashley looks like a beast. They brung him back in. He was supposed to do something. The rumor was with Brock Lesnar, never fell through. And the last time the Undertaker actually wrestled an African American at fucking WrestleMania was when he wrestled Kamala. So I don't know. Seems a little racist to me.
Yeah, what about Mark Henry?
And Kamala never happened in Mania.
Oh, yeah, he wrestled Mark Henry too, but I mean, Mark Henry, nobody saw Mark. Yeah, Mark Henry just, yeah. But yeah, out of all the people on the roster, I think that Bobby Lashley has a legitimate background. He looks the part. He's big as shit, and I think they will have a good match, and to put Bobby Lashley over.
All right. Jay, who should Undertaker face
All right.
when he comes back?
Do I have to go with my original answer, or can I say somebody else?
Hey, you can pick somebody else if you want.
All right, yeah, because Finn Balor, yeah, that'd be a good match, but nah, not Finn Balor. Who you need could be the next Undertaker, and that'd be Damian Priest. I mean, that motherfucker, he's a big dude, tatted up. He's got some dope-ass moves. He's got a dope-ass entrance. I mean, work on it a little bit, yeah, but I mean, don't let Vince McMahon get a hold of him. That's my only issue. Do not let Vince touch Damian Priest. Go straight from, the way he is, because I don't want just Damian versus The Undertaker or the Priest versus The Undertaker. I want Damian Priest versus The Undertaker. And, I mean, all they have to do is the one-on-one normal match. It doesn't even have to be cinematic. It doesn't have to be any kind of, crazy. I mean, Hell in a Cell, maybe not too bad, but I get it. Undertaker don't want to do that. So, I mean, just a normal one-on-one match. And, I mean, them two, they could have a killer match. I mean, it doesn't,
maybe not go down as one of his greatest matches, or hopefully not one of his worst, him and Goldberg. But I mean, Damian Priest, I feel like could put on a hell of a match with the Undertaker, and I mean, if you wanted to, you let the Undertaker lose, and again, Damian Priest is your next Undertaker.
All right, Jordan, you're up.
All right, so my pick for technically I want my answer to be he shouldn't, but if he ever did, I'll answer the question. I'm going to go with The Fiend, and I will say cinematic match, and I'll mostly sell it on cinematic because, let's face it, guys, if this happens, we're talking as soon as possible, Mania. We're talking Mania of 2021. I love Taker. He probably still could have a normal, decent match, but no matter whatever normal match he has, it's just going to be good. It's not going to be great. It's not going to be the Taker we know. It's not going to be a 5-star like Shawn. It's just going to be a good match that a 50-something-year-old man can pull off. So that's why you kind of need cinematic. You kind of need that storytelling of Undertaker versus, hey, guess what? The kind of newer Undertaker, an evil character, and Fiend, the other guy that had a cinematic match this year at WrestleMania, because you can work around both of their strengths, both of their positives. If you really put some time into it, if they gave this literally time and maybe even months to think about, you could have some really interesting stuff going on in this. I think Bray's an interesting cat. I think Taker has good ideas, and you could do something that at the end of the day we won't walk away going, oh yeah, they brought him out just for that. Like, all right, they brought him out and like it was cool. Like they did something interesting with him, and you won't feel tarnished in any way. So I think a cinematic match with Bray, aka The Fiend, is the way to go.
All right, Rich.
Yeah, I mean, like Jordan, if I had the answer, I'd say no, not to have him wrestle. But like, yeah, if he was to, I would say Karrion Kross, because you'd want. I think Undertaker, especially later career, it's good to have someone for him to put someone over, and I think his feuds work best when he's got like this sort of darker, another sort of dark type character, like when you had like Kane and things like that, where it's like it's sort of similar character, and that's where the best storytelling is told. And I think Karrion Kross is kind of in a way is kind of like it is that sort of dark brooding character, and I think that there's a lot of stories that can be told. In the build up to that, and I also don't think it. Although I don't think it should be very when it comes to the match, I don't think it should be competitive. I think it should. It should. I think Karrion Kross should just overwhelm him, and it'll elevate Karrion Kross to the dominant monster that he should be, and to main event level.
All right, Haven. Rebuttal time.
All right. Okay, here we go. Karrion Kross, right? Yeah, a lot of people are really liking this fucking guy that hasn't done shit because WWE is so desperate with NXT that they bring this fucking guy in that I don't really care for the guy, to be honest, because he is the only wrestler in the last 3 years that really bitched out to fucking leave Impact for a bigger payday for WWE because WWE is so desperate for fucking talent, right? So Karrion Kross comes in, and I'm sorry, what match that he has that was so fucking great? None. Okay, let's move on. All right, The Fiend. Oh, wow. We got a fat fucking Bray Wyatt in a fucking mask. Ooh-wee. Yeah, it'll be a cinematic match, and he'll fight The Undertaker. Oh, wow. Like, a fucking fat guy in a mask now. So, oh, shit. Now we got to be like, woo, this guy doesn't change his moveset at all. He added one fucking move since he's been back. The mandible fucking claw. Whoopie fucking do, And then, Damian Priest. The ROH television champion. That's how he got in ROH. NXT, he's been a North American champion because, well, their roster is pretty much depleted, so they gave him a belt. I like Damian Priest, but he's almost 40 years old too. My guy, Bobby Lashley, knows the system in WWE. He's been wrestling longer than any of these guys. He could have a safe match with The Undertaker. Bobby Lashley doesn't injure people. Bobby Lashley is safe. Karrion Kross, still green. Damian Priest, still green. Bray Wyatt, what the fuck is he going to do? ooh, do some dumb shit at the fun house. All right, you can have a cinematic match. That's all you're gonna do with the Undertaker. The last time we had a cinematic match with the Undertaker, he laid it out with AJ Styles, a great match. They could do the same thing with Bobby Lashley, and you could have the whole Hurt Business in the match. You could have cool shit with MVP. You could have cool shit with Sean Benjamin, Apollo, or he not Apollo. Yeah, Apollo's in that. No, it's not Apollo. It's that other fucking bum. Yeah, he needs a rub too. That's because that's all WWE does. They put all the black guys together. So I mean, Jesus Christ. But yeah, he could get a rub because at the end of the day, Bobby Lashley is safe as shit to work with. And if they really do the storyline, Bobby Lashley, yeah, he might not be the best talker, but he's a better talker than all three of them because the Fiend doesn't cut promos. So you're gonna have Bray Wyatt in the Funhouse doing his same old stick, but at least Bobby Lashley, MVP, all them guys could talk stuff. They could have history with the Undertaker, and they could build it up better. At the end of the day, it'll be the safest match for the Undertaker. Cinematic, cool ass shit with all those guys included. So that's why I'm picking Bobby Lashley.
All right. Living up to the villain status and burying the world there, Haven. Jay, why is your pick better than everyone else's?
All right, so you call my guy green. He's green, yeah. I mean, he's. I think Lashley's older than him, but I could be wrong on that. I'm not sure on that. I'll bing it later and get my points from it.
He's older by like 4 years, maybe.
4 years, okay. But yeah, so he's green, but I mean, again, that could be a guy, that could win, beat the Undertaker. I mean, safe match. I don't know. I mean, maybe not. Like I said, if it's a regular match, yeah, I think you could have it as safe. I mean, Damian Priest doesn't have too big of heavy moves I think would kill the Undertaker per se, but yeah, I think they could, have a good match. Karrion Kross, I like Karrion Kross, but Damian Priest is better. He whooped Karrion Kross's ass, guaranteed, when that match. Oh, it's happening, so yeah, probably not going to happen. But still, I mean, the match going to happen, but yeah, needless to say. But and then Jordan, the Fiend. Yeah, I mean, that could be a good match. Yeah, it could. But, I mean, again, Damian Priest. I mean, I'd rather see Damian Priest, again, whoop the shit out of the Fiend and then go beat the Undertaker. I mean, that would give the Damian Priest even more hoo-ha for, being the guy that took out the Fiend, a darkness, matter, kind of whatever, clown. And then you got the Undertaker, darkness, matter, clown. And then you go to Damian Priest, and I mean, he could be the new darkness, matter, and then some years down the line, clown. But it would work. I mean, Damian Priest, I think, is a good choice. I feel much better than Finn Balor. At least I can sell this match with a Damian Priest. Finn Balor just going to get his ass whooped. But yeah, so I mean, I feel pretty confident in Damian Priest's answer. I mean, he's I think he's got it. I think he could take the Undertaker and, I mean, create a new kind of streak. I mean, he could be the next Undertaker streak and everybody be like, oh, my God. And that's where I am.
All right. Jay picking Priest to be the next Al Pacino with a hoo-ah.
Hoo-ah. Come on now.
I'm going to go eat a taco. I'll be back.
All right. Jordan.
All right.
Everyone else's.
All right. Haven, my friend. First of all, thank you, Haven, for now changing your mind and your rebuttal to saying it now should be a cinematic match and agreeing with me, even though you never said that in your first debate. So in the first round.
That's all it's going to be with Undertaker. I mean, everybody's talking about cinematic.
After you heard my argument for cinematic, you agreed. So good on you for agreeing with me. Lastly, I'm actually going to repeat a lot of your argument because I think a lot of your argument fights against you. He's a beast. He's a legit MMA guy. That's the reasons why he shouldn't wrestle Undertaker. Undertaker's 50-something years old. If Bobby Lashley didn't destroy him, you'll lose all plausibility. You don't need big-ass, bulky Bobby Lashley fighting Undertaker. There would be no reason for that to be a one-on-one match anymore because you would just wonder why like a Brock several years ago, he wouldn't run through him. Also, too, he said he should go over. No, man, and he shouldn't go over any of these guys, and that's why mine makes the most sense because you bring back Taker, you kind of want a feel good moment here. You don't want his last thing just to be Dominator Lashley wins, and then who said he should just run through him? Holy crap! I think Rishi said, no. Dom should dominate him or something like that, carrying cross. No way. How sour would that make you feel in your heart? They brought Undertaker unnecessarily out of retirement just to simply have someone dominate him. And also, too, since Brock's beat him, any of these wins don't really mean all that much. It's just going to make you sour and dour. And that's why, the feeling in a cinematic match would make the most sense because, you go both ways and you don't need to destroy someone by having 50-something-year-old beat him in a clean, regular match or vice versa and making you feel underwhelmed by that. Speaking of underwhelming, that's pretty much my only note for Damian Priest. He's been underwhelming this entire time, and I think that match would be underwhelming as well. His own streak, let's be serious. You think he's going to make it to 20-something Manias or 18 Manias? I don't think so. Let's be honest with that. Yeah, Karen Cross just shouldn't win. None of these guys should win. You want to have a feel good moment. You want to have something that plays to his strengths. A cinematic match with a similar character where it can be simply cinematic and makes sense cinematic as well. The Fiend.
All right, Rich.
I hate to use your argument again against you, Haven. I'm going to bury you even more. you said that like you were going against Damian Priest, or thought it was, and said like he's too old or something. But then you readily admitted that that Bobby Lashley is older.
6 years older.
You readily admitted that Bobby Lashley is older than Damian Priest, which is Bobby Lashley, I think, is 44 years old. So I don't want to see a 44. It would mean nothing if Bobby Lashley was. Bobby Lashley doesn't need the rub. Okay, even against him, sort of getting a huge push. Even anyway, so. I don't know. I think that's weird. And the reason, like, okay, I understand, like, maybe at the moment Karrion Kross hasn't been sort of lighting the world on fire, but like that's because like he when he was in in the ring, they were primarily using him as as someone to squash people. So yeah, like he's not gonna like go back and forth with a lot of people. And also like he was on his way to having a decent match with Keith Lee, but unfortunately, as things happen, he got injured. So yeah, like I think he can have a decent. I think he can have a decent match. But yeah, like and I mean like yeah, I mean yeah. But the thing is, if Undertaker, if Brock never beat the Undertaker, then sure I would say, hey, I'd protect that and don't have anyone beat the Undertaker. But it's well and done now. It's like if Undertaker's going to come out at the time, then like Karrion Kross beats him, it's like who cares at this point, really? It's like I think it'd do more for Karrion Kross to beat a legend like that. And I don't know. Which one? Who's was Jagex again? He changed from Finn Balor to
Jay picked Damian Priest.
Damian Priest. I mean, I probably had the same sort of sentiment as Jordan. Really, like Damian Priest is fine. I honestly just see I mean he's got the right look Vince likes, but I honestly just see like Damian Priest as a perennial mid carder. But I just feel like Karrion Kross is the better way to go.
All right. Well, instead of final statements, let's use our imaginations right now. I'm Vince McMahon. All right. You're a writer. You're coming into my office and you're about to pitch me this idea for Undertaker's next opponent. Just set me the stage. Tell me what it's going to be like. What does it look like? We'll start with Haven.
Okay. Hey, Vince. Hey, Vince Kennedy McMahon. All right. Undertaker's coming back. We got less than a year to go for WrestleMania. The only guy on the main roster right now that could go for the go for this match is Bobby Lashley. He's the U.S. champion. He's with a hell of a faction. These guys have been in the top 10 since Kova. You know, he's got a bunch of guys with him, so we can have a good match. Undertaker could beat him. Nobody said that Undertaker had to lose this match. You know, Undertaker could beat him. Bobby Lashley's still strong. He looks strong. He's a safe guy. We can't bring nobody up because nobody watches NXT. It's a dead fucking brand. Less than 700,000 people watching. So nobody cares about these fucking other guys. They're too young, they're too green, and they probably could hurt the Undertaker. Bobby Lashley has never hurt nobody in a match. Oh, The Fiend. Oh, well, didn't he lose to Goldberg in less than 10 minutes and lost the title? Wow, that's going to put asses in the seats. Bobby Lashley, African-American. He's got 3 other guys with him. This could be a great dope thing. Undertaker has plenty of ideas. He wants to run fucking Shelton Benjamin over with his car. He's down for do that. He's gonna chokeslam MVP off of a fucking house into the glass garden. Oh fuck yeah! You know Bobby Lashley's gonna do a nice spear. He's gonna pick him up. He's gonna pound him a little bit. Undertaker is gonna roll him up with the fucking arm submission that he does. Tap Bobby Lashley out. You know, and he's gonna go out. You know, with the Miz. Farewell WrestleMania. Damn, that sounds awesome.
I can't believe you're telling Vince how it's going to end, but okay, that's weird.
Okay, Jay, pitch me your idea.
All right. So, like I said, unfortunately, I don't even want to talk to you, Vince McMahon, because you're going to fucking ruin Damian Priest. That's number one. So instead, I'd like to talk to Triple H. But
You're fire.
So yes, I'm gonna book you with some or I'd like to have Damian Priest, hot up and coming guy coming up. You know, he's not running NXT, but you know, he like I said, he could be the next Undertaker. So you put him in the one-on-one match with the Undertaker, and they go for about 20 minutes. 20 minutes. That sounds like a good match, and I'm not including the 10 minutes of entrances from both of them. I mean, that's just the entrance alone is bringing that match. But they could have a really good match, and Damian Priest, you know, hit him with Crossroads, maybe, or not Crossroads. Who the fuck am I thinking of? That's not what it calls it. I can't think of it, but it's that move, so we're gonna stick with it. And you know, what?
It's called the Reckoning.
Reckoning. Okay, yep. So hit him with the Reckoning a couple times.
Me and him?
Yeah, beat him. I mean, I don't know. I think it's a good match. I mean, like I said, I think it's a better match than Bobby Lashley. At least I could almost see like a fatal 4-way though with the other 2 competitors, but Damian Priest would still win, of course. And that's where I am.
All right, Jordan, pitch me your idea.
Let me knock on the door. Come on in. All right, thank you, sir. All right, so Vince, here we got Taker this year. Don't worry, I like the other guys. I'm not going to mention the other possibilities because I feel like that's not right, and I'm not going to tell you how the match is going to end either because that's nuts. I'll give you my pitch though here, Vince. I think we should, what was the best match this year at Mania? Arguably, the cinematic match. Everyone was talking about it. People love Taker versus AJ. People were so hyped for it. Let's do it one more time here. We're getting even more creative. We mix that and the match with the Fiend. The Fiend and Cena had a really fun one as well. You could do a little bit of a mixture of that. Have some cinematic moments that are both, just wild, and then of course have a great brawl in it as well here, Vince. I think these 2 would work well together. We got to work towards Taker's strengths. Taker can't have those 5 stars like he did once back in the day with Shawn. He's older now. Let's put him in there with the Fiend. The 2 characters that are kind of similar, but evil versus the good evil in a way. And I think they can have a really smart match here for Vince. I think people will enjoy it. They're not going to be let down in at all by us bringing Undertaker back. It's done in the right way. And hey, let's get Michelle McCool in. I think her and Alexa could have some fun in this as well. Let's have some fun. People have seen Taker as a family man. Let's play into that. I think we're going to have some fun here, Vince. That's good shit. All right.
All right, Rich.
Now, Vince, I know you get hassled online about how you're not building towards the future, and I know you're sort of hesitant about watching NXT, but I swear there's a guy that's prototype what you're looking for. He's got muscles in places that that people don't have places. He can cut really good promos, and he's got he's got a hot blonde as a manager. So and like as well, he's got like a dark gimmick like the Undertaker. And other than like an urn, he's got like an hourglass. And if you do this program, not and put him over, put him over, not only will you build a new star, you will be building towards a future and sort of getting those people off your back that think you have no vision, and think that you're pushing over the same guys. Which that is good shit.
Mm-hmm. All right, great stuff, guys. Great stuff.
James would get kicked out of that office very quickly. Just saying.
I like all your arguments when it comes to this. These are fantastic opponents for the Undertaker. I see each and every one of them actually having a really good match with the Undertaker. But one ran away with this round definitely, and I gotta give this point to Jordan because not only did he lay out what it's going to be like, but also he brought up the idea that hey. That Boneyard match was actually, that like everybody's talking about it to this day. That everybody's like saying like it was the best match at WrestleMania. I was waiting for somebody to actually go up against Jordan and talk about the Firefly Funhouse being very divisive. How everybody was like 50-50. You either loved it or you hated it. And the other thing is, going back to a previous round, there was a character assassination in that match. So you had the murder of like the John Cena character. Nobody brought that up, but Jordan win this. He gets the point in that, giving him the lead 2 to everybody's 1. All right, you guys ready for a speed round?
Mm-hmm.
What the hell no? Man, we've been here for 2 hours and 40 minutes, bro. Like, this shit should have lasted 1 hour, bro. Like, yeah. No. You tripping, bro. I'm good. Yeah, my phone's been dying for the last fucking 2 hours, man. You wildin'. I didn't know we're gonna be, man. It's 12:47 in the morning for me, man. I gotta work tomorrow. I gotta bow out, man. It was fun as fuck. I think it was fun as fuck, brothers. But I gotta bow out, man.
Good arguments, Haven, man. Good stuff.
I'd give it to Jordan.
Yeah, all you
He's got
guys
the
brung
2
it, man.
points.
This shit was fun as fuck, man. It's just like it just lasted way too long. And my phone, it sucks, man. If my phone was, if my phone was even 20%, 30%, I'll be here all night. But my shit's on 10%, man. And it's fucking, I can't. It'd be staticking on you guys, so I gotta be out, man. Peace. Thank you so much for having me.
You muted again, man.
Okay. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? This was actually a fun match. We had a great match, great arguments, great competitors. This was a really, really good show. Really good, start to this idea, basically. I wanted to go for a speed round and really fast forward real quick and make it 2 minutes or something like that. But you know what?
Oh, we muted again.
Muted again, brother.
We can do that. We can do that some other time, definitely. Jordan, you won. You won the inaugural episode of Desire Wrestling. There you go with that WWE Championship. And but it's not as good as that one.
This is when Toys R Us was going out of business. It was like $25, so it's worth it.
There you go. You can't beat a good deal. So yeah, this was definitely a great show. I gotta thank you guys. Gotta thank Haven for being a part of this. Hey, if you got anything to plug, go ahead. Start off with Jay.
It was a good match. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I've never really done a debate before. First round, I kind of came in a little, as Enzo would say, SAWFT soft. I mean, a little bit. I mean, it was, and so that second round, I made sure I brought it. And like I said, I mean, I'll argue with it up and down to anybody. AEW is better than WWE, number one. But number two, Double or Nothing is the best pay-per-view, hands down. I mean, I got to say it. So, and then, like I said, the Sting one, I could have said, like I said, him being in AEW, I know when I associate WCW, I associate Sting. It's Sting, Macho Man, and those are your top two, really, in my opinion. And then you got Hogan, Warrior, and Flair, and everybody else that jumped around, but still. And so Wargames, I mean, like I said, I kind of felt like I would lose that one already because I was going to go new school NXT and not, the old school. But it was all good. I enjoyed every part of it, and you can pretty much catch me on Jack of All Trivia. I'm right now I'm 2-0. So 2 people have whooped my ass, and I haven't won one trivia yet. I would love to, but it ain't happening yet. Both of you guys had a great match. I watched them both just recently, and those were great. But truthfully, you can pretty much find me anywhere you type in Bulletproof Club, BITW, or Kaiba Transforms. I mean, I got my YouTube, and I'm always posting wrestling shit, video games that I play, whatever. I don't know. So, hopefully, catch me back on Jack of All Trivia. My YouTube is Kaiba Transforms, KAIBA TRANSFORMS, and there's a picture of a dog head. It's my boy Kaiba. So yeah. And like I said, you can find that anywhere: Xbox, YouTube, Facebook, but I don't really have that one no more.
Right.
But I appreciate it. It was a good game. I very much enjoyed it and look forward to doing it again.
Oh, you definitely brought it. I hope you bring back that same energy. Jordan, plug everything that you got going on.
Yeah, man. First of all, thank you, man. This was a lot of fun, man. I always thought this would be an interesting idea. I love movie fights. And I was like, oh, man, there needs to be a wrestling one like it. It's just fun debating here. Everyone did really good. Everyone getting points on the board here. Both of you guys had ones that I almost picked. I almost won with your Fall Brawl. I love that 4 horseman angle. My spot, not just any spot, my spot. And then I almost won with Double or Nothing was honestly my first idea because I love Dustin and Cody. And I was going to argue how they have their own action figures based on this one match. But then Full Gear I just thought was really good. Maybe I'm riding that high. But everyone did really good. A lot of fun here, man. So definitely love to be back. As far as me, Pierce Wrestling Channel, I do wrestling with trivia. Always having fun trivia matches there. Richie's in it. A lot of great people are in it. Also exclusive matches and interviews with the stars of Florida wrestling. The Pierce Code channel, podcast about movies, show about shows, and then Real Pro Wrestling is an organization I help run, do commentate, manage, so much more for here in Fort Myers, Florida. We have a show Saturday night. We have a show in January. We're still running. We're still grinding. And yeah, man, Ben Affleck on Xbox, since you mentioned Xbox earlier, and find me on Twitter, JPierceO. Thanks, buddy.
That's awesome. It's awesome. So, Rich, got anything to plug?
No, just you can catch me around all the leagues. You can catch me at wrestling. As Jordan mentioned, I'm wrestling with trivia. I'm 2-0 at the moment, so catch me on there. I'm doing pretty well. I suppose I'm on PlayStation 4 at Rich Magnet 89. So there you go. Just catch me around. This was really fun. I'm hoping to be part of it again sometime. This was really good. I love the format. So yeah.
All right. Hopefully next time we're gonna iron out the kinks, and it's gonna be a better show, definitely, and hopefully much shorter than what we went with. We're almost heading into Monday Night Raw territory. All right. So, anyways, thank you for watching, and see you when we see you. Take care.